All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 105.1 The Fan in the Fan Sports Network. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody.
What is happening?
Another week flying right by, Andrew.
It is, dude. We're almost a divisional round of the playoffs. It's almost here.
I was thinking about our Sprague line bets and how we're a couple years behind on that.
Sure, paying off our dues.
Feels like Swag is probably a guarantee that he's going to lose this year.
Yeah, based on the way that I'm trending right now, I don't know if that's a guarantee. He picked up a couple games on me this weekend.
All right, but he seems like
he is in last place. Yes.
More than willing to pay off his this year because we know what it is.
Sure.
Ours were, let's do a big video thing, and we'll never execute it.
No, we bit off more than we could chew there. It was a grandiose idea that would have been great. We just don't really have the manpower nor the technology to pull it off.
I was thinking, like, how do we pay any bets off if he's going to be a furry for an entire show?
I still go back to the idea. I think we should all do it on the same show and not say anything. Don't say anything to the audience.
Just a three-man furry show.
Just a three-man furry show because in year one of Spraguing the Line, that we've started this, post Kevin Todd, because it used to be us against Kevin Todd, one of you going against him. And that was
usually me.
Usually you. Yep. Delightful. I'd win a set of golf clubs. Swag's getting all sorts of stuff. It's been great, right?
You did get a set of golf clubs out of that.
I did. It was awesome. I got no complaints.
Year?
It was a phenomenal year. You lost in year one.
Yeah.
I lost last year, and Swag's finished in second place in both years. So if he loses, that's a perfect trifecta of all of us are losers. And we just show up like on May 14th, and you're like, I'm a dolphin today.
Oh, you're going to be a dolphin?
I don't know. I haven't decided what furry outfit I'm going to be.
I think you got to be something with fur.
You could be a furry dolphin if you want. Can't you? Can you not be a furry dolphin? Does it not exist?
I think you got to be something with fur.
I'm not up on my furry.
How many sharks do you see at these furry conventions?
I've never been to a furry convention, so I don't know.
But if you've ever seen a video of somebody, aren't they always like a bear or a
fox
or a cat?
I tend to agree. I can't be a sea animal. I can't change it up a little bit.
I mean, mammals, but okay.
Our furry spirit animal, that might need to be put out to the show, too.
Oh, to figure out what we should be?
Yeah.
I like that. Listeners letting us, or not letting us, but choosing for us.
Now that I think about it, though, knowing that, and I've lamented the family shield from the origins of the Swigard clan back to Germany as a squirrel, I think that would be appropriate.
A squirrel searching for a nut.
Yeah, you got to have some nuts with you.
There's got to be some nut reference there.
Yeah.
But then again, you're dressed as a squirrel, so I would assume.
Now,
how many 6-foot squirrels you see wandering around?
Right.
Doesn't happen very often, man.
Right.
Dude, some lady could be walking around totally turned on. You just never know what you're going to run into in the wild. I have a follow-up question on this and executing this plan because I know that this will be the next snag that we run into.
We're only a couple weeks out from this.
We're not that far away. Now, we could do the furry thing at any time, but knowing that all three of us are losers.
We got to go.
If I end up losing, then I don't know what the hell we
Online
do. So a lot of pressure on me here the next couple of weeks, not totally crap the bed, a la Oregon in the Peach Bowl. Are we going like full body? You got to go full body, or is like tail, head, and hands enough?
Well, the tail's kind of pointless for this specific thing.
I mean, you could stand up and shake a tail.
I'm sure we'll do pictures.
The reason I asked this is I'm just now I just pulled up on Amazon.
Parade around the studio.
Furry costumes. I mean, you're looking for a full-bodied furry dog fox costume.
Yeah, what are we talking?
$120.
No, I'm not spending $120.
Right? Now, for the head, the ears, the paws, and the tail, $25.
You could also just make your own.
What am I, paper mache this thing?
I mean,
what am I, creative? What am I, an artist? I'm not doing that. That's a Sprague thing. You guys are creative. You're innovative. You're good with arts and crafts.
That's fine.
That's not my alley. I'm not making a furry costume.
Yeah, but
my creativity's in the kitchen. You want me to go up with some 7-course meal? All right. I'll
Yeah, but most of this is makeup anyway.
Staple some feathers to an outfit. Like, what do I wear? A sweatshirt? Kill a couple of squirrels in my backyard?
I'm not
tape
agreeing.
Their tails to my shoulder? What?
I'm not agreeing to be on a YouTube sports show in a furry outfit. And then, what did you say? Parade around? First of all, F everybody outside of the studio.
You don't want to go put on a show?
That is enough.
Okay.
And I'll already be dressed as an animal, so if they want to parade over to me, they can do that.
I'm sure
they
can
come check you out.
I know you like to be the center of attention, but I'm not walking around shaking a tail feather
Yeah, these are spendy, dude. Like, this is a red fur husky fursuit, which would be really funny to make me wear a husky fursuit.
Oh, that would be great.
$115.
A husky is actually exactly what you should be. That would be the funniest solution.
I'm not spending $150 on
Okay, but this is my point.
husky costume.
We can't wear masks, so we have to talk.
Right,
so
we
you're
have
gonna have
to
to put
talk.
makeup on.
That is true.
So you basically
Well,
might
here's
as well
my
try
point.
to make your own.
Here's my point. The furry mask, like, ears, the hands, and like it's not a full head. It's just like the mask down to the nose, basically. So you would
So
be
the
able
mouth
to.
is open.
The mouth is
there
technically
we go.
open, so you would be able to wear it and still talk.
Nice.
We're gonna look so stupid.
You got to have your mouth open,
This
and
is-
the hands. You'll have the gloves, so your
Gotta have
hands.
the hands.
The hands
I
are.
agree with
I
that.
talk with my hands, so
Yeah.
you'll see the paws.
I
Now
agree
it's
with that.
gloves, not mittens, right?
It-
Because I got to punch stuff on the board. Can you see me in here?
You got no fingers. You're just like, eh. I could see that actually. Yeah, I could
Just
see that.
misfiring buttons left and right. What's wrong with Swag? Well, he doesn't have any fingers today, so we're having a bit of an issue running commercials right now.
Is it weird that I'm sitting already kind of jealous? Like, you two already know what you're going to be. I don't know what to be. If you're a squirrel and you're a husky.
Well, I got to be able to find, because the only one that's showing up that is like just the face and the mask and
What
all
did you
that.
Google? Furry
I
costumes?
just furry suits on Amazon. That's all I Googled. So
right.
it's a good for the work computer.
Josh is going to be like, what did
The
you guys
hell
look up?
is the matter with you people? I see a wolf cat. I don't know what wolf cat. All right, I guess we're
Like AI images. Are
yeah.
these
There's a little bit
even
of
real?
that fur fox masked wolf cat, fluffy tail, and a leather necklace.
There's a $1,300
Yeah, there's-
furry outfit.
There's some spendy ones on here. It gets aggressive a little bit.
This isn't for sex. This is for some other reason.
Some of them are. Some of them
I
are
don't know,
very.
man.
I mean, we're talking. There's some lingerie furry outfits on here.
Well, that's
You know.
it's a little different. It's a little different.
I once wore a cheerleader costume.
You
know,
did.
That once
You
happened.
did.
You
But,
did.
know,
Okay,
this is a
I'm
morning
seeing it.
show.
I once paraded around with my boys out.
This isn't your B-dub-dub show you're doing back
I think
in the
this is
day.
tough because it is mittens more than it is a glove.
Yeah.
It is.
The paws.
This is going to be difficult to pull off. We'll figure it out. But I'm just saying.
We'll get there.
I'm not spending $130.
And like you said, I think we'll, yeah.
What?
I think
Start your thought and then end your
Stroke? What
thought.
just happened
Are you
there?
okay, Swag?
I'm fine. We got time
He's got
because
COVID.
like Dirt
Yeah, might
said,
be it.
I don't have COVID. Like Dirt said, we'll do this in like random May.
It's got to be a random
June,
day. Random
just-
day. You just show up. You don't say anything. We plan it behind the scenes.
We
and then
plan it
for the people. I don't even
take
think we
our time.
acknowledge it. I think we just show up, and it's one of those days like you're thankful to be watching on
I
YouTube.
think we can get the bosses to cover the expense for this.
I'm sure that'll
Not
go
a
over well.
chance.
Get it
I'll
sponsored.
fly that one up the flagpole after the show. Hey, Cooley,
Peter want to.
you're in a good
sponsor
mood
us?
today because your team just hired John Harbaugh.
What about
you
the
wanna,
zoo?
You
The
wanna,
zoo could sponsor
Oh,
us.
Hey, brought to you by the Oregon Zoo. I'm an
don't-
Oregon Zoo member. I love going to the Oregon Zoo.
I don't know if the zoo wants to attach themselves to a furry show.
Why not? Animals and animals. It's a beautiful thing.
I think they would read into what furries actually are.
Why does it got to be gross, man? Some
You're the
people
one
just-
that brought this up when we talked about this. I thought it was just people that wanted to pretend to be animals. And you're like, no, it's a big sex thing. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
The only reason I say that, this is based off of one example of evidence that's not even real life. It's just the episode of Entourage where they're trying to,
Yeah.
the gal wants to sleep with one of them, but they got to wear the furry costume.
I don't remember that episode.
You don't remember that?
No.
And Turtle refuses to do it, and they pull up outside the house, and they're trying to get Turtle laid because he hadn't been laid in a while. And so they find this gal online. She says, I'll sleep with you, but you got to pick up my dry cleaning. And he goes and picks up the dry cleaning, and it's a full-body furry costume. He's like, what? I'm not doing this. And then Johnny Drama's like, fine, I'll do it. And the episode ends with him
as
in
a
a
furry?
full wolf
Yeah.
furry costume going, oh! And then it goes, end of the episode.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I'm assuming it's a sexual thing, but that's my only point of reference. I don't know.
The only reason I brought this up is I was thinking about who to pick this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm finding the spreads and what sides to be on incredibly difficult today.
Yeah, I got no confidence right now.
And so I was just thinking about like our records, and we only got this. We got conference championship weekend and the Super Bowl, and that's it.
That's
Yeah.
it, man.
And the Super Bowl is like, what prop are you going to pick?
Exactly.
If you're
It's-
not picking the over-under and the
adventure.
sides.
Anytime touchdown. I mean, there's not a lot there, man.
There's not a ton. I mean, we know there's a lot of bets, but it's winding down, and so we have to pay off a bet.
We do. This will be the year. This will be the year. Now, if I crap the bed and lose, a lot of this goes out the window, and maybe I end up being the only one that has to be a furry because I'd be a 2-time loser in 3 years, and that's not good. We don't need that.
Well, also, it's. I get your point of
My percentage, though, this year is
I'm 5 games ahead of Swag with 3 gambling weekends to go.
He's historically bad, though.
He's having a really bad year.
This is awful.
But,
really bad year.
But my point is, I understand what you're saying of all 3 of us paying it off because I lost, you've lost, and he could lose.
Yes, he's the only one who hasn't lost.
But
yet.
also, I might be the winner.
You could be. For
and
the
my
second time.
reward is a punishment?
Well, you didn't pay off your loss. You got to pay off your loss, you know?
The juice has been running for 2 years,
That's
pal.
right.
So I get nothing for winning. And then next year, whoever gets to win.
Whoever got anything for winning.
Yeah, nobody's got anything for winning.
Bragging rights.
Yeah, that's
you
what
can
you
still
get.
brag.
You can brag all you want,
Sit
buddy.
there in your
But now I'm
wolf
gonna be a
costume.
giraffe.
Brag away.
Yeah.
Bragging giraffe. It's ridiculous.
Giraffe's actually pretty good for you.
A giraffe would be a good
You're
one.
pretty tall. You're a little lanky. You know, giraffe fits, man.
Just get a head where my face is coming out of the giraffe
That's
neck.
perfect.
And it's above me.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. You got
Yep.
a little hole right here to talk,
Exactly.
but the head goes up like 3 feet over your
Yeah.
head. That's,
I think
It'll
that's
be
it.
out of the camera shot
Yeah.
for the whole show.
Yes, I think that's it. I think I got mine.
I'm going to Sprague's head, man.
I think I'm going to be a giraffe.
Nice.
Who doesn't love giraffes when you go to the zoo, too?
That's so cool.
Great.
Delightful animals.
Remember
and it's
giving
on
them
that high perch.
the little Rye Crisp cracker? Do they still do that?
I don't think so, no.
So when I was
They used to let
a
you
kid
feed the
going to
giraffes?
the Oregon, yeah, there was like
You still can, but they give them branches.
Like a bamboo
Oh,
branch or something.
they used
Yeah.
to have these. They look like these big Rye Crisp crackers. I don't know if they made them out of like hay or whatever for the giraffes to eat. But there was a little vending machine at the old
I
Oregon
remember
Zoo.
this.
Oh, I
Yeah,
remember that.
And
this.
you could punch one out, and then you get little kids, and their ginormous tongue would like wrap
grab
all the
it,
way
yeah.
around your finger and grab it.
Of all the animals at the zoo, let's just use our zoo. Is the giraffe the most a kid made that and they made it real of all the animals?
Ooh, good question.
Like if a kid was drawing an
Like-
animal, like, hey, make up an animal, kid, and they drew it,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be a giraffe is the
Probably.
most
That or an elephant.
elephant, huh?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's something about a
Some-
giraffe with its coat.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't.
The legs are so skinny,
But
the
it's
neck is so
tall.
long.
Yeah, but it's built weird. It kind
Yeah.
of slants
Be that
down.
or the zebras.
The body's big.
Zebra's just a striped horse.
Yeah.
I know.
I think it's
I think-
giraffe.
I think I'm with you on that one. I think I go giraffe.
It just doesn't make any sense.
God calls you up as a 4-year-old and like, hey, create an animal for me.
And that's what they would
I
make.
got you, God. He's like, why is the neck so long? We'll figure it out.
Are those horns on the top of its
I
head?
don't really know.
Why is that tongue 9 feet long?
That tongue goes all the way down to the floor,
What are you
man.
thinking about, you little pervert?
Licking some ice cream.
All right, we got a lot to get to today. Big breaking news yesterday, again at 11 a.m.
Yes.
All
Right
real
after we
run.
get-
And
Yeah,
there
I
was
got home and
breaking
then-
news at 11 at night.
Yeah. Quite a day. This might be the most loaded show we've ever had. This might be the least amount of prep work I've ever had to do for a show. Because my entire part of the show is just basically set.
Well, we have 3 guests today.
We do.
And we have a magic hat.
And we do.
It was
Exactly.
a little bit of a convergence. I was trying to space it out, and everybody said Thursday's great.
Dude,
and
it is
I
what
did-
it is, man.
It's
I
great.
didn't
I love
wanna
it.
pass on anybody.
Brady Henderson at 9:30.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard, big game up in Seattle.
Big game.
What? They're playing this weekend?
8:30, Michael Silver,
Yes.
national NFL writer for The Athletic.
He was at Pittsburgh for that the wild card game.
Final Tomlin game.
And then 7:40, back to his usual daytime. The commissioner, the very in-demand Josh Pate.
Yeah, ESPN wants himself some more Josh Pate.
We've known him a while. And you know I have a tendency to ask the question that's like,
Makes people really uncomfortable.
is it odd if I'm just like, dude, what's it like to be a millionaire? Because
Yeah, I
they
wouldn't do
literally
that.
put this in the story.
I don't know if I'd ask that one.
I would approach
what's it like to be so in
like,
demand? What's it, what kind of role are
make
we
a
looking
transfer
at?
portal reference for him.
Oh, there you go.
If you guys asked me and I became rich like that,
I mean, you would be comfortable answering that
I'd
question.
love to answer that question.
Not a lot of people are comfortable answering that question.
I'm glad you asked, Andy. It's great. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I never have to think about the consequences of it.
Now I'm buying those $120 furry suits. I don't even think twice.
I'll buy it for you guys, and I'll ship
You
them
know
out
what
to
I'll
you.
do? I'm going to toss it out when I'm done with it.
Wear
too.
it once. Who wants this? Leave it in the office. We're good to go.
So Josh Pate will join us at 7:40. Magic Hat from 9 to 9:30. Loaded show. Let's start. They got their guy. They got their guy.
Got their guy?
They got their guy.
What's it gonna mean? Let's talk about the big breaking news late last night. Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
680 AM.
All right, welcome back in. Last night, around the 9 to 9:30 area, the big breaking news, Adam Schefter on SportsCenter reporting that the Giants and John Harbaugh are finalizing a deal.
Come on down, John Harbaugh.
And so John Harbaugh, his first in-person interview was with the Giants. He then flew back to New York, and many Giant fans wondering, what is that going to mean for us? And, well, it means that he liked what he heard, and he's agreed to a deal. Now, they need to sort out some of the I's and the T's of the deal. But by all reports, the Giants and John Harbaugh are going to be a match made in heaven. And the New York Football Giants now adding one of the more respectable coaches in the league in the last 20 years.
I love a good dotting the I's, crossing the T's reference. It's one of my favorite ones to go to. You got to dot the I's, cross. Not done yet. Got to dot the I's, cross the T's. Got to do that. I love this. It's like we can't just say it's a done deal. Haven't ironed out all the details of the contract yet.
The reason you say I's and T's is because it's really a money thing.
It's all we're trying to, What's the guarantees? What are you going to get for playoff wins? What is going to happen if you get fired? All that. Our boss is a diehard Giants fan. He was just walking around the office yesterday muttering, "Don't let him out of the building! Don't let him out of the building!"
I texted him when it broke because I was like, I wonder if I could be the one to break it to him because I know he gets the alerts.
Sure.
So I text him, "Got him!" And he responds, "When he left yesterday, I was a nervous wreck."
I mean, look, this was the move that always made the most sense for both sides. The Giants have been a comedy of errors from a coaching standpoint now for how long, right? It started fine under Daboll, and you thought, man, maybe you found your guy, right? OC from Buffalo. Look at Danny Dimes. He's in the playoffs. This is going great. And then it just cratered. It wasn't good. Before that, you're talking about guys like Ben McAdoo who were wearing a suit that was 7 sizes too big, and Joe Judge. They have just been a comedy of errors of unproven head coaches. And they went from a run. How long was Coughlin there? Almost 15 years? Like, that was one of the more stable coaching runs that we saw.
I don't know if it was it
maybe not quite 15,
years?
But it felt like, I mean, that guy went to Super Bowls and NFC title
2
games, and like he was around for a while. Now, I don't know how many years it specifically was.
He was with the Giants for, you were close. 12.
12? Okay,
yeah,
so 12 years
years
that you're there. Like, that's, as we're learning again, like 12-year runs for NFL head coaches is pretty rare. These guys don't get a lot of time. And so you went from that stable situation to just clown show after clown show after clown show. Mm-hmm. This always made the most sense for the Giants. Let's get a guy who's done it before, who's been around a long time, who's a respected leader inside this locker room. And I've argued all week that this is the move that makes the most sense for John Harbaugh, because if I'm looking at the openings, I have a pedigree of championships. Might not mean much to some, but I think it does to the Harbaughs. I love what they have on the defensive line. I think when Malik Neighbors is back, you're talking about one of the best weapons in the league. And of all the young quarterbacks that I could work with, not that I'm 100% sold on Jackson Dart being an all-pro guy, I think he's shown you more than some of the other young guys out there. So I think it's a perfect marriage, made sense for both sides, and I wasn't surprised in the least that this is the move that each side made.
No, it's not shocking to find out he chooses the Giants over the Titans and the Falcons. I go to, like, the other way of thinking about this. Obviously, this is a good get for the Giants. This was the biggest name on the market.
Yeah.
Probably the one most coveted by teams looking for coaches. I also can't help but think the last X amount of years, the difference between winning a second Super Bowl in Baltimore versus having all of the collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And is that, like, I don't even know how we equate what that was. Because as I mentioned in the Factoid Tuesday, this week or last week, since Lamar became the starting quarterback for the Ravens, they've led the league in most blown 10-plus point leads.
Yeah.
And so I just, it's not that is going to follow him, but that definitely is something stench-wise that people are going to, that didn't smell right in Baltimore. What was that? Was that Lamar? Was that offensive lack of execution?
Was it the defense cratering, and that's not really his side of the ball, but that's part of his responsibility?
But you think of like 2 games, 1 regular season, 1 playoff, that sums it up. Isaiah Likely on Thanksgiving this year, if he gets that touchdown and not a touchback, are they beating the Bengals? Maybe the momentum swings their way.
Right, and then maybe you win that game and you win the division.
Was it the AFC divisional round with Patrick Mahomes in Baltimore when
that was AFC title game.
AFC title game when
they fumbled inside the 5-yard line twice. Zay Flowers, I think, fumbled in the end zone.
Yeah. Hits him perfectly over the middle. If he scores that touchdown, they're up, and like you just think they have that confidence. So you have to wonder. He's certainly, I think, in that division. I would believe most football fans would say they have the best coach now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
if you had to pick a coach to start your
Sirianni
team with,
might be fired next year.
Right.
Schottenheimer's in Dallas.
Yeah.
And Quinn was really good last year.
Quinn's fine.
Quinn's fine.
He's
but
not great. He's fine. And so they have the best coach now, but is that going to mean they're going to win the division and reign supreme? Or is some of what happened in Baltimore, is he going to figure that out, or is it going to follow him to New York? Like, I understand why he chooses the Giants. I don't know where I'm at on Dart. Obviously, he had some really good flashes. He also, as you jokingly said yesterday after the show, probably suffered 19 concussions last season, and we only knew about 2 of them.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot I wonder about John Harbaugh, but I understand from the Giants side of things, like, we have been a disaster since Coughlin left. Joe Judge, McAdoo, and what we just went through with Dayball. The only thing I haven't understood with the Giants is the keeping of Shane. It's made
I'm with
no
you
sense.
there. Yeah, if you're going to start over, start over.
Yes, start over.
I'm with you.
Don't have the guy whose kid is on tape out scouting him.
Get Jane Daniels.
And then fire the coach who is responsible. The only reason you're responsible for having Jackson Dart, which was had to have been an enticing thing for Harbaugh to choose the Giants.
Yeah, I'm with you on all of that. In terms of, like, chalking up what went wrong in Baltimore, there's a balance here for me of the blown leads have been bad. I mean, you forgot a couple even from, the Buffalo game in week 1. Like, that was one of the worst. Like,
I was just rattling off
sure,
2 off the top of my head.
Top of your head,
a
right?
ton of them.
There's a million of them. And if they don't blow those leads this year, Baltimore's in the playoffs. They had multiple games like that this season, let alone not counting the playoffs from years past. But it's also like there's a balance of, what went wrong there while also giving them credit and pointing to things and circumstances and games that I don't necessarily know if it's the coach's fault. I don't think it's the coach's fault. And saying if that play goes a different direction, how different is the narrative? Like, I'll just use last year as an example. They get to the playoffs. They go 12-5. They win the AFC North. They go on the road to Buffalo in the division round of the playoffs, and Mark Andrews drops a 2-point conversion in the end zone.
Right.
That's not John Harbaugh's fault. If they catch that, maybe you're in the AFC title game. Now, am I picking you to beat Kansas City? Probably not, but you never know. The year before, you mentioned you're in the AFC title game. And I want to say the final of that game was 17-14. It was close. It was ugly. And they kind of went away from running the football. That had been their MO all year. And then Monken all of a sudden calls a bunch of pass plays. Everybody's like, why are you throwing the ball so much? Again, Harbaugh can have some control over that, but he's not the offensive coordinator. And Zay Flowers fumbles into the end zone. And I want to say Lamar threw a pick somewhere down around the red zone, too, if I remember correctly. Like, they had 2 costly turnovers in scoring position, and you lose a 1-score game in the AFC title game. You're 2 plays away from potentially winning that. Now, that's woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I understand the criticism of not getting over the hump again since the last time they did and beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. But you're an organization that's been knocking on the door and incredibly close. I ultimately think the way that this succeeds or fails, and I maybe am oversimplifying it because I grant you there is more to do than just this one thing. What's Jackson Dart? Like, John Harbaugh's had an MVP candidate at quarterback. He's won 2 of them in the last handful of years.
2019, yeah.
Like, he was kind of floundering, and then all of a sudden here comes Lamar. Hey, look at that. We're great again. We're a 1 seed. We got MVPs. We're going to an AFC title game. We're in the playoffs more often than we're not.
Yeah, if Lamar's a bust, he gets fired.
Yes,
I mean, I know he got fired, but he gets fired much earlier
5
than
years
he did.
ago he gets fired because then it's old Joe Flacco, and this probably isn't aging well. So that, look, again, it's an oversimplification because winning football games is more than just the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. But in terms of how we view this as a successful or not successful hire, to me, it comes down to, can Jackson Dart continue to develop? Can Jackson Dart not be a dumbass on the field? Like, just get down and run out of bounds. You're not playing at Ole Miss anymore. He's got to learn those lessons, and he's always doing the same quote after games of, yeah, I know, it's been a concern since Ole Miss. I'll figure it out. I'm growing. Like, you're clearly not learning, dude.
Well, at some point, you are what you are.
And at some point, if that's who you are, you're not going to last in the NFL because then you're Tua doing the crab hands on the sideline because you've had 38 concussions in 2 years. Mm-hmm. So ramming your head with Cam Scatterbo is fun on the sidelines. You got to stop doing it in a game. And that's the only thing that matters to me in terms of will it succeed or fail. If Dart's good, I think this is a great hire. If Dart flounders, then you're in 2 years, you're going through the same cycle of what do we do, how do we restart, where do we go?
Well, if you're under the assumption he chose the Giants because he believes in Jackson Dart amongst many other reasons of that franchise, are you going to pick him to win the division next year?
Yeah, I think I will, actually.
Really?
I am...
Then it was a smash success hire. And I'm not even saying that's the only reason they hired him is for next year's
Could age terribly,
race.
but yeah, I would pick him right now. I'm not trusting Dallas. Their defense is terrible, and I don't know about their head coach. Washington has a lot to rebuild. They're losing coordinators. Like, there's a lot that's going on there.
Quarterback struggled to
stay healthy. Talk about quarterback injuries. Yep. And for Philly, like, maybe this is the boom, bust, and next year they boom, but They also got some pretty existential questions they got to figure out themselves. So if there's I don't know what the odds are. I'll look it up during the break. But I'd be willing to put a ticket down on the Giants winning the AFC.
I mean, there's almost always a last to first team
every year.
Every year. And so you look at the divisions, the most likely candidates, they might have the best odds of that. And now I wonder, who is Baltimore going to get?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Who are they looking at?
I'm of the opinion on those blown leads, you got to go defense.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is in town interviewing.
Could be a really good hire for them.
That's a home run hire, man. A guy who's been a head coach. He's learned from a couple of years.
Well, when they won the Super Bowl, how have they won the Super Bowls?
Defense.
Defense, man.
Defense won him championships.
It's their DNA. It's the cold weather stuff.
Right.
Like, you have Lamar.
When you're blowing leads, what does that tell me? That tells me your defense is a bit of an issue.
They had some games they had no business blowing when they scored enough points to win those games.
I know Derrick Henry fumbled. That's not great, but you're also not getting a stop in the second half of the game. Get a stop, maybe you win the game.
John Harbaugh, a New York football giant, broke last night around 9 o'clock.
Hold on. We haven't dotted the I's yet.
Finalizing a deal to become the Giants' next head coach.
Got to cross the T's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dot those I's, cross those T's.
You know where we're at right now? 1 yard line.
Yeah. You're right.
Got to pound it in.
You're right.
You got to pound it. You got to finish.
We going to run it or we going to throw it? Russ Wilson or Marshawn Lynch?
So Malcolm Butler's not standing in that end zone.
A lot more to get into. I'm going to stick in the National Football League. We'll get to the big Dante news at the top of the hour. Ho, ho, ho. You thought dirt was a mess during the season? You guys don't win a title next year. It's the most disappointing thing in program history. You guys are the biggest losers of all time.
I was texting with a buddy yesterday of like, it's amazing how quickly I could go from depressed to excited. And it's just, like, it hasn't even been a week yet, man. I've pulled me back in already.
There's an element, and I'll throw this at you at the top of the hour. I think there's an element of like you are excited. Also, there's a party that's
terrified.
It's a hard place to be in.
Yes. There's no silver linings next year.
We'll get to that at the top of the hour. But up next, are we going to remember? I'll tell you what I'm talking about before Swag with the sports update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the first hire of the NFL offseason appears to be finishing up in New York this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Giants will sign John Harbaugh to be their next head coach, barring a setback as lawyers work through the final contract numbers. Doc's welcoming quarterback Dante Moore back for his senior season. He announced he will not enter the NFL draft on Wednesday despite being a projected top 5 pick had he come out this year. Blazers are back home tonight hosting the Atlanta Hawks and former guard C.J. McCollum. 7 o'clock tip on KUMP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant now questionable in a game-time decision. Denny Avdia upgraded to doubtful with his back issue. Hawks 3.5-point favorites. College hoops for you over on 910 ESPN Portland tonight. The Oregon women visiting Iowa. That is a 6 p.m. tip. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:30. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of a.m.
All right, welcome back in. Good intro to play as Dante Moore announced he was coming back yesterday.
Also fitting, how about this text that came in?
Yeah.
Let me find it. Hold on. From the opening segment. Said, currently listening to this combo at 10 p.m. in Malaysia. So glad I randomly tuned in from my shower beer while I'm on my honeymoon. P1 Caden.
Hey.
Dude's on his honeymoon in Malaysia. Dialing up a shower beer at 10 p.m.
There you go.
Hell yeah, man.
Wait, so that means he's listening to us in the shower.
He's in the shower listening to us.
Talking about furries.
We're taking a shower together,
Look at
Caden.
that.
How's that feel? We're all naked right now.
What a honeymoon you had. 3 dudes in a
refreshing.
shower and
There
your
you
wife
go.
in Malaysia?
This is it's getting a little interesting.
It's nice.
Also a great point. Why don't we dot the J's?
Well, how many words do you use in a J with a J in a contract?
Just win, baby.
You think that's a stipulation
Is that a
of
clause?
the contract?
If I'm Mar, I'm putting that in there. Clause 1.
Just win.
Just
Force
win.
majeure comes up a lot in contracts.
No jumping ship.
Yeah, we dot all the I's. So those little J's, man.
Yeah,
Those little J's are feeling lonely.
You're not wrong.
They're dotless.
Yeah, they are dotless. I want to stick in the National Football League as Harbaugh joins the Giants. And so it's a little bit of a conversation of next year, right, with him and where he's going to be and how the NFC East is going to break down. I'm thinking about the divisional round this weekend, and I'm really excited for all the games. There's not one game I'm not excited to watch. Is there one for you guys?
No,
No.
I'm disappointed I have a Pilots game on Saturday.
No, you chose that life.
See, that's not bad though, because then you still got you can catch up on Saturday night. Like you get home, and then even so, we're not working on Monday,
No, I know.
so you got plenty of time to catch up.
Yeah, because the game tips at 5, so
You'll miss Niners and Seahawks, and probably the end of the first.
Well,
game.
if you can watch on mobile, you can watch the whole game on your phone if you have to leave to the child center.
I've actually gotten to the point, too, where I don't mind at all being the person. I do this a lot, like on Monday night games and Thursday night games when I'm watching Teddy and the wife's working or whatever. I love pausing the game and then I don't check
Catching
my
up.
phone. And then you just scrolling through the commercials is
No,
the
I'll
best
watch-
thing ever.
That's what
I will
do.
probably go home after the game and then watch the Seahawks-Niners game
Well,
that night.
I'm just thinking about, like, you know, every fan's feeling cocky and confident right now. We don't know who's going to win these.
No,
But it's been a weird year in the National Football League. You guys would agree?
I would totally agree.
Now, I understand that most of us, we forget the most basic things our significant others tell us to do the day after they tell us to do it.
All the time.
But if I sat here and said, Dirt, name the last 10 Super Bowl champions, his brain, they'd show like the electricity in his
neurons are
brain
firing.
would be firing off, and he'd rattle off, Eagles, Patriots, Chiefs. He'd just rattle them off the last 10 years. I know we're going to remember the champion.
Yes.
But what I found out in thinking about that is, what is the most interesting, memorable champion of the final teams remaining? Because there's some champion potential here with some of these teams.
No
where
doubt about it.
I think we'll name them in a trivia contest. I don't know if we'll go,
If the Texans win the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, that's right. The Texans won a Super Bowl.
yeah.
The
'Cause
Texans are a pretty.
When did they start? 1-4?
0-3.
0-3 at the start of the year.
Thank you. Yeah.
It'd be a remarkable turnaround. I think there's one very easy answer here that is head and shoulders above everybody else.
Of being the most memorable.
The
of
most
group?
memorable and
Okay.
significant, and nothing else comes close. They all pale in comparison. It's Buffalo,
It's Buffalo.
and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Name me another Super Bowl champion this year, sans Buffalo, that is even in the same galaxy of that and what it means for the NFL.
That's a very good one.
Chicago's the only other
San
one.
Francisco.
See, and I get the point because
With
of the
that
injuries.
team?
I get your point. To overcome the injuries and win a Super Bowl would be remarkable.
Yes.
And it would be Kyle Shanahan's first. I get it. There's also the historical precedent of having 5 of them things.
Yeah.
And I know that for some that might not be the end-all be-all. Like, I think there's 2 here. I think it's Buffalo, popping their cherry and getting their first after all the 4 in a row and Allen and the AFC title games. Like, Buffalo winning a Super Bowl is something that we will never forget.
Buffalo is the most memorable of all the teams
It's
remaining.
not even a debate.
Yeah.
And then I think distant second, but second place for me is Chicago.
Wow. Okay.
Chicago has
All
been
right.
a laughing stock of the league for nearly 20 years. They've been the little bitch to the Packers in the NFC
when
North.
did they go to the Super Bowl against the Colts?
2007.
It was the 06 season. It was
06, yeah.
2007
Okay.
when
So
they
you're on
played.
almost 20 years since you've been to a Super Bowl, and you haven't won
85
one
was when you won.
since before I was alive.
We literally made fun of them this year like 7 different times.
We did.
Even though
I-
the record was good.
I said for 8 straight weeks they weren't good, and then I finally had to kind of back off that take. I think the Bears might actually be good.
They started 0-2, and I abandoned my Bears will win the division take. That's how little faith we have in the Chicago Bears.
Like the Niners point, I get your Niners point of like them overcoming all the injuries and winning the Super Bowl would be remarkable. That's insane, but they also are like one of the proudest franchises. It would be another feather in their cap.
You're using history in a season is interesting to me.
Because I think that frames the way we view things.
I don't disagree with your Buffalo
What
point.
Red Sox World Series do you remember the most?
04?
Why?
Well, because TV wouldn't tell me about a 100-year Babe Ruth trade.
Right.
Wouldn't shut up about it.
That and they came back from 03 down to
Sure,
the Yankees.
that was
There's
pretty
one of those I
chaotic.
don't remember ever. Every time somebody says it, I go, that's right.
They beat the Cardinals a couple of years
Was it
after that.
07?
The 07 one I remember.
That one you remember?
Was it the Cardinal one?
They beat the Cardinals, I think, twice in a World Series.
Yeah, I think it was 11.
And then they beat the Dodgers. Do they have 4?
They got 3.
Yeah.
3?
I thought they beat
It's proving my point.
The
but we all
Rockies.
remember the
We
first
remember
one.
04,
You
yeah.
never forget. You
they
will
beat-
always remember the Bills winning a Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
You remember the ALCS more with the Red Sox than you do the actual World Series, don't
Because
you?
they played the Rockies.
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
Rockies.
but I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
mean, that's part of the storyline, is
Yeah,
it not?
for sure.
Who the
is.
Rockies went on a tear.
They
Would
won
they
like
win
20 in a
19
row.
of their last 20 or
Yeah.
something to get
Okay,
in?
so 04 they beat.
The
First one.
Rockies were 07.
Yeah, first one they beat the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
That's right.
07 they
Rockies
went back
was
and beat the
07.
Rockies,
And then they beat the Cardinals again in 11?
and then they beat the Cardinals again in 13,
Yeah, see, I don't remember that one at all.
and then the Dodgers in
Dodgers.
18.
that might be
So
the
they have
least
4.
watched World Series of my life, that Cardinal Red Sox series. And I think maybe it was a great series. You could tell me it was the 6 games or whatever.
The first time they played the Cardinals when they cracked the.
No, what was the second time?
It was a sweep. The second one was a 6-game series.
Don't remember that series. I can't tell you anything about that series.
I remember that one randomly because it was right around the time that we were starting. And I think I was kicking around the idea of starting a baseball podcast. And I remember it was right around that World Series. And Michael Waka was pitching for the Cardinals. Waka.
You think it's the Bills and then the
Yeah.
Bears.
I think it's the Bills and the Bears.
And you're using the history part of the franchise. That's interesting to me.
Because the Broncos have just won one in about 10 years ago? When was Peyton's Super Bowl?
The Texans started their franchise in 2000.
I also think I view the Texans similar to like we will all watch. It will break ratings, but like there's just
2002.
there's markets that don't matter. Like
Oh.
Jacksonville winning a Super Bowl is like, whatever.
I think that's pretty crazy. I think I disagree with your market. Now you're taking market into account?
I'm taking market shots here.
Interesting.
Jacksonville doesn't have a home field advantage. Their fans are in a pool. Nobody cares.
My point is this: I'm very curious for people because everybody has their fandoms attached if their team's still alive. But like, if you unplug for a second and you tell me like what team makes you remember this season the most, it's interesting the teams you picked, and I'm not even saying they're wrong. But like, what if Ricky Pearsall never comes back? What if Fred Warner basically can't play that much?
It would be one of the wilder. Like, how did you possibly
They're almost
do that?
an 8-point under. I'm not saying they're necessarily the automatic number one answer, but I was
Line's
trying
come down a little bit too. You don't get the hook anymore. I think it's back to 7.
I was just trying to think yesterday, going through these games, and I'm reading about this matchup and that matchup, and I'm like, which of these teams am I gonna remember the most?
You ready for this? I'll power rank them 1 through 8 for you. See if you
Let's
agree
do
with my
it on
list.
the other side.
Okay.
because we're already against it.
Because I have a number 3 that I'm kind of terrified of, but I think we would remember it.
Okay, we'll get to that on the other side. You can chime in. What is the most memorable one for you? I know some people are going to put their own team in it, but like, what is the team that will make you remember this season the most? 503-864-6326. Back with more NFL divisional round chatter on the Fan.
1080 AM.
All right, welcome back in. Dante Moore coming back to Eugene. Oregon is not allowed to not win the national championship next year with that decision. There is no scenario.
None at all.
Where they're not holding the trophy and
No.
it's a successful season.
It's
so
a failure. I'm going to fire Dan Lanning personally if he doesn't win the whole thing.
Oh, the pressure. You're this year's Texas. Or
We got our guy, baby. Got our guy.
Dante and Dan. Dan and Dante.
Round 2. Here we go.
We got him, boys.
Sound like degenerates outside of a Clerks movie.
Yeah.
There's Dan and Dante again.
Yeah.
Don't talk to them.
Here we go. Leave
Try
them
to
alone.
hustle you.
They got a lot going on right now. Leave them alone, okay?
We'll get to
Focusing on
that
big things.
at the top of the hour. Josh Pate will join us in hour number 2, 7:40. He's going to go live from first up.
Get up.
First take.
He's,
Take up.
He's getting up, and then he's going to get down. You got to get up to get down.
Get up. I don't know if he'll be on First Take, but he's on Get Up.
Okay, he's on Get Up. Thank you. I blended those shows in my brain. If you're just tuning in, good
4 in a row, and then it's also they have a guy who was unquestionably on the current Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterbacks.
Well, there's only 2 teams remaining that haven't won one. It's them and Houston.
Sure, everybody else has
Yeah.
one. Totally grant you that. But Houston and Buffalo are not the same. Houston's never been to one. Buffalo lost 4 in a row. 4 in a row. 4 in a row. So them getting over the hump and getting there first, they're one of the most recognizable franchises for a long time in the NFL because of the 4 in a row and how good they've been. And Allen what does that do for Allen's legacy? And all the conversations about will
Plus,
he, can
they do
he,
it
does
in the
he?
final year of the stadium, and
Cinderella story.
It writes itself.
Right off into the sunset into your new
So
stadium.
you agree with his number
Yes,
one?
I do.
Okay, let's see if we agree with the rest. Number 1, Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Bears. Multitude of reasons. The historical franchise. I don't want to drop an original 6 on you, but there's that vibe with Chicago, right? They've just been around a long time.
They've never won one in our lives.
In our lives, 1985. I was not alive. I was
I
born in
wasn't either.
1989. Swag was 37, but he remembers it vividly.
He does.
Haven't been to one in 20
He's
years.
doing the shuffle in his parents'
He
basement.
was. He was getting his fridge on. So it's been a long time. And then also like the aspect of their quarterback. Caleb's a very controversial guy. He paints his nails. Can he be a
And Ben
franchise
Johnson
quarterback?
in his first season.
Winning a title in his first year as head coach, what that would mean, that massive. Bears, number 2 on my list. Number 3 on my list, and it pains me to say this, but I got to do it. New England winning one in the immediate restart, basically. Like you go, what was it? Was Mayo there for 1 year or 2?
1.
1 year.
It was a one and done.
1 year, you fire him. Very next year, you're like, just like that, you win again.
Yep.
Here we go, which would be their 7th title, I believe, as a
7th.
franchise.
Yes.
That would likely signal the start of something. Nothing a guarantee, but likely signal the start of something. We will all remember that.
Hold on. So, wait. 3. Hold on. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Counting here.
That would be their 10th, or no, that'd be their 11th Super Bowl appearance.
Yes.
And they're the number.
How many teams have more? Nobody's got more than that, right?
No.
Cowboys got a handful of them.
Not
Cowboys
that
have a
many.
bunch. The Niners have a bunch.
I'll
the
see who-
Steelers have
yeah.
a bunch, but I don't think anybody's got that many.
Dude, that's yeah. So that's okay.
Are you
so
including-
because it's 1
Yeah,
year.
They're
they've
getting their
already.
ass
New England's
kicked.
already appeared in 11.
Yeah, 85. They
Yeah,
lost
I
to the
remember
Bears.
the 85
Okay.
one, the 96 one with Bledsoe.
Right.
1-6.
They lost the 2. Oh yeah, plus the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brady lost 3 of them. He lost to Philly and he lost to New York
the Philly
twice.
one. I omitted
The
that.
Philly-
You're
you can't
right. So
forget
this
the
would be
Philly
their
one.
12th Super
This
Bowl
would be their
appearance,
12th
and
Super
they're
Bowl.
the third best story of all the teams.
I know, but Buffalo winning it would still be bigger, and
So-
Chicago winning it would still be bigger.
So Seattle and Denver and San Francisco, we'll see who they rank for you. They can't be at the top 3 because they already won one. But the team going to their 12th
Don't poke
one,
holes in my logic here. Don't poke holes in my logic, okay?
It's an insane time.
Patriots are number 3 on this list. I would say number 4 on the list for me, again, might be controversial. It's the Rams. Primarily because
Your logic makes no sense.
let me lay out my logic for you. You don't even know what my logic is. I haven't even given it to you yet.
You
okay?
have. You said teams that have won one.
Here's your logic.
It doesn't. They already have the history. So
Quarterback legacy conversations is what drives the narratives around the NFL. How many rings do you have? Can you be better? Are you Hall of Fame? Like, we talk about that stuff ad nauseum year-round, calendar round. What does a second title do for Stafford's legacy?
Oh, it changes so much for me. I go from thinking he was amazing and underrated his whole career to thinking he's amazing and
That does very
underrated his whole
little for
career.
me. That's your worst one.
This is my worst one so far. Well, I'm going
Like
to keep
the
going.
Rams is at the bottom with
We
the
power
Texans.
through. 2 for McVay, 2 for Stafford would be big. I go Niners 5 because it'd be Shanahan's first ring, massive. Brock would be a Super Bowl champion. Remember that contract? You sure you want to pay that guy?
Yeah.
Would be huge for them. All the injuries, insane story. They are number 5. Number 6 on this list to me would be Denver. Number 7, Seattle. Number 8, Houston.
Why is Denver above Seattle?
Splitting hairs. Rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. You're splitting hairs.
Houston winning the Super Bowl for both of you is the worst.
Nobody cares about
least
Houston.
memorable champion?
Nobody cares about the Houston Texans. Their fans don't exist. They don't even care about them in that city. More people in Houston are Cowboys fans than Texans fans.
But if they win the Super Bowl, you guys would agree that means their defense was historically
Yes, very much so.
Ravens, Bears, Seahawks.
Has to be because
right?
their offense is so
Absolutely.
bad. Has to be.
And that's the least memorable?
Least
Yep.
memorable. The Texans are just not a member. Nothing about
But we
the Texans
remember
is
the
memorable.
2000 Ravens a lot.
Nothing about them is memorable.
People still point to them and go,
I know.
Darnold can win a Super Bowl because of Trent Dilfer. Everybody still does that.
It's my power 8. Don't hate on it. That's my top 8 right
The
there.
Ram one just, I don't know. You lose me with
I would
the-
have Rams 7. I would say the Patriots 49ers are pretty close at 3.
I agree. I don't know if I agree with the order,
I could
but
interchange them.
Yeah.
Either one's about the same. All the storylines and everything leading into it.
it's nuts.
Um,
The Broncos one's interesting.
Broncos, I'm in
Sean
between them
Payton
because it'd be another one for Peyton. You'd have
with
a
a different team.
Bo would
Nix
have one.
winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But it's a team that's they've had good runs in different, like they won 2 with Elway, won 1 with Manning, so they've been around. They've been there before. The Broncos are hard to peg on where you put them 1 through 8.
There is Dirt's top 8. Who would be the most memorable as a Super Bowl champion going into the divisional round? It's a fun exercise because there's teams that have won it, and you're like, yeah, I remember that team winning, but meh.
I feel very confident in my 1 and 2. Very confident.
I don't know if I agree with you, but I understand the point.
Yeah, Bills and Bears would be wild.
After 2,
That'd be a great Super Bowl. I hope we get Bills Bears in the Super Bowl. I'd be all for that too.
that's a fun Super Bowl if my
Really
team gets
fun.
eliminated. Let's pray for the Patriots. They haven't had a lot of these chances, as Dirt points out. They've only been to 11, dominated our lives for 20 years. But yeah,
Here we go again.
a top 3 story in winning the Super Bowl. Idiot. Hey, Dante Moore's coming back. Let's talk about that. Hour number 2, Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys you can put your trust in. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on The Fan. The NFL coaching carousel about to spin the other way now. The first hire of the offseason appears to be close to done in New York. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Giants finalizing a contract to sign John Harbaugh, barring a setback as the lawyers work through the final contract numbers. Ducks excited to welcome quarterback Dante Moore back for his senior season. He announced on Wednesday he's not going to the NFL draft despite being a projected top 5 pick had he come out this year. Blazers back home on the Moda Center floor tonight. CJ McCollum will make a visit with his new team, the Atlanta Hawks. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant questionable in a game-time decision. Denny Avdia upgraded to doubtful with his back injury. The Hawks 3.5-point favorites. The first PGA Tour event of 2026 set to tee off just outside Honolulu today. It's round 1 of the Sony Open. 20 of the top 50 players in the world in the field. Coverage begins on ESPN Plus at 9 a.m. Golf Channel takes over at 4 o'clock this afternoon. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard for the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan.
All right, welcome back in the second hour. Durden Sprague here, 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. You can't tell. Pretty excited about divisional round weekend.
Can't wait, baby.
Important note, we are off Monday.
We are, yeah.
So we will not be here for a big Miami-Indiana preview.
Yes.
We'll get into it a little bit tomorrow, but Dirt and I think we actually tend to agree on this. I don't mind talking about an upcoming matchup. We're going to do it the divisional round.
Yes.
But I infinitely love reacting to what we watched, more so than saying, what's going to happen?
Because we have no idea what's going to happen. I give you my thoughts.
But you will hear that game
right
here
on
the Fan.
Yes, you will.
3:30 pregame, 4:30-ish kickoff.
And there's no Ducks in it this year. We know that because of what Indiana did to Oregon.
Well, what happened? Did it go poorly?
You want to pull the cuts back up?
I'm already on it. It's already the 2026 season. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
The portal closes tomorrow.
The portal's done. We're moving on. Spring ball starts in a couple of weeks. Let's go.
Yes, it does. And the reason for optimism, despite maybe not finishing the season the way they wanted, was yesterday on SportsCenter around 11:15 a.m., I believe it was.
11:30 on the dot, I know.
I was charging my car at a Target parking lot watching SportsCenter on my phone.
I got home, little guy's running around. I think there was some Miss Rachel on the TV with Grandma, and I said, buddy, gonna have to change the channel real quick. We got to keep an eye on this and see what's gonna happen.
And Dante Moore jumped on ESPN to announce this on SportsCenter.
Yeah, this past year was a year that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Just my teammates, the adversity we went through, and just the way to be able to, as a kid, to play in the semifinals. And, of course, the year didn't end the way you wanted to end. And, of course, got to give your kudos and credit to Indiana. But, yeah, with this decision, mainly all my life, it's kind of just been, being as most prepared as I can for any situation I go into. And when it comes to me just making my decision, of course, I want to feel most prepared and, this is best for my situation, especially as a quarterback. And with my decision, it's been very tough. I prayed a lot about it, talked to many people, my mentors, and people I just look up to. And with that being said, of course, I'll be coming back to Oregon for one more year and being able to play for the Oregon Ducks and, of course, reach our goal and be national champions.
So he, much like many others, Dirt yesterday.
I am pumped for this. I'm a new man. Yes!
With Teddy Ballgame running around in a diaper. Actually, hopefully not a diaper. Hopefully potty trained.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah.
Shout out the Hoggies.
I'm guessing there was a lot of Winnie the Pooh action over there at that house.
That's okay. That's all right. But Dirt is pumped, as many Duck fans are, because you had the defensive line returning, which, by the way, I questioned the Amari one. Turns out I was wrong. He is coming back with everybody else. You got the Minnesota transfer. Your tight end, one of your 2 tight ends is returning.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously know your receivers. Dante Moore announces yesterday he is going to forego the NFL draft and play one more year, which is going to mean Dylan Raiola, barring an injury, will do the Dante Moore thing. Sit a year, learn, wait, become the starter in 27. But massive news, and I'm going to say this because I looked up the odds for the futures. We don't have them yet because we haven't had a title winner yet.
Yeah.
Legitimately not trying to make you feel bad. I will be shocked if they're not preseason 1 and the title favorite.
I would be too. I mean, Texas will have Arch back, and that's a sexy story. They were one for a lot of people coming in. No, I'm just giving you the other teams that might be in the mix.
Back for Ohio State.
Sayan's back for Ohio State.
And...
We'll see. I mean, Indiana wins in that. Like, say Indiana wins the title by 20 over Miami.
But they're losing Mendoza, so I
they are. I get it. I'm just like those are the other teams that'll probably be in the mix. Outside of that, there's nobody else.
Yeah, because I initially said they got to be top 3.
Easily top 3. They'll easily be top 3.
I think they're going to be preseason 1, and we'll ask Pate this at 7:40. He's going to join us, but that announcement to me, and we'll get into the Oregon angle of this, like I just think you guys are going to go in preseason 1.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was massive yesterday. I've argued for weeks and weeks. Like, we started talking about this a long time ago, looking ahead to the future. What do we think he's going to do? And I've brought it up many times on the show. I think he's coming back. And some people just say, well, that's just wishful thinking and saying what he wants to have happen, not what he thinks was going to happen. But the reality of it is, about halfway through the year, there's rumblings down in the building, and there have been for a long time, that there's been a belief internally at Oregon that he's going to be back for another year. Not that he looked Dan Lanning in the eye and say, I will be back, coach. That just the way things were going, the conversations they were having, there's been a belief for a long time internally that he was going to be back. And so that's usually where I base it. If I hear something like that, I'm going to relay that information, and I've argued for a long time. I think that he will be back, and I also... There's 2 other things that, like, people who are surprised by this that I would just kind of laugh at. One, I think there's 2 different blueprints to it. The first one is he's already done this. 2 years ago, Dante Moore had the ability to go be a starting quarterback at a number of big-time schools and make millions of dollars. His in-state school, he's from Detroit, Michigan. Who was Michigan's starting quarterback 2 years ago?
I forget the
You can't even tell me his name because they were terrible and they couldn't complete a forward pass.
Orgy?
Orgy played a couple of games.
Who was the white kid?
I can't even remember his name. That's how bad they were. Still somehow beat Ohio State, which is wild. He could have been the starting quarterback at Michigan. They wanted him to be the starting quarterback at Michigan.
Yeah.
He said no. He decided to come to Oregon. He wanted to wait a year. He didn't feel like he was ready. So you already had an instance on hand of him making this decision of, you know what? I think development is best for me. I need a year. And clearly it worked out because if I would have told you in August we were laughing about Dante Moore turning down $50 million as a lock to be the number 2 overall pick, you would have called me an idiot because when Jake Butt gave us that thought in September, we were like, what? He's a lock to be a top 10 pick? And now those same people who were laughing at that take are saying, how can you turn this down and be the number 2 overall pick? So there was already that blueprint. And then the other one was when the Raiola stuff started to heat up, there was very quickly a twist in the message of Dylan Raiola's looking at Oregon. Dylan Raiola's going to go to Oregon. Yeah. And then right as that was starting to bubble over, it said he's willing to sit behind Dante Moore for a year.
I thought that's a done deal.
There it is right there. And so I wasn't surprised in the least, but you still need to hear it out of the horse's mouth. And we got it yesterday. And boy, oh boy, buddy, the 2026 will be one of the most anticipated Oregon seasons in a long time. And I cannot push back at all on the idea of it's a title or bust.
Todd McShay, I wanted to listen to some of the draft fallout reaction. Like McShay did a surprise emergency pod after Dante announced, and he kind of echoed what you said. He didn't cite the game, but he made it seem like somewhere around the northwestern part of the schedule.
Yeah, it's pretty early in the year.
Who do they play after? Their next home game after Northwestern is kind of what he hinted at. He basically talked to scouts, and scouts knew his parents, and all of the intel was like, even at that point, his name is heating up. He's in the Heisman race. Even at that point, almost all the scouts that were regularly going to Oregon to scout him were getting the intel, oh, no, he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Because I think he is a smart enough kid to, you mentioned the quarterbacks who got like 20 or fewer starts.
It's not a good list.
It's not a good list. The outlier is Cam Newton of that list, and for obvious reasons. But
and Tannehill had a good career, but he was never a franchise guy.
Took him a while, though, to really get that thing going and a new change of scenery. But that was the intel at that point. So to your, like, hey, you think he's going to come back? that's because there really was a lot of noise about it, and people close to it, following it, scouting it, all had this reason to believe that, like, everybody in his circle were saying he's going to come back. It changes when you're the number 1 pick in the draft. If he wins the Peach Bowl.
Sure, they win the national championship this year. Maybe the calculus changes. I have no idea.
He might not have any choice at that point, right? Being number 1 is, I know it's not a huge difference to people, but number 1 is number 1 versus 2, 3, 4. And I just disagree with the whole what next year could be if you don't perform to the level. I don't care about that now. What I care about now is the Oregon angle of it, because the Oregon angle of it is the most fascinating one. When you get the amount of players with all of the experience coming back, mixed with you may have gotten Thieneman's almost as doppelganger version from Minnesota, I really do believe they should probably go in preseason 1. And I'll counter to what something you just said. I remember the Marcus year, the last Marcus year.
Mm-hmm. The guy who came back, by the way. How'd that work out for him?
I don't want to memory hole it, but to me, the amount of money, and it's a much different landscape than that, but like the amount of money they have to be spending for this roster.
Oh, yeah. Every year they do.
Mixed with getting to the semis this year, in a year that a lot of people weren't sure they could do it, that this was the rebuild or retool, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
This is, without a doubt, next year, that is going to be there is no reason they shouldn't win the title for people. Yeah. That's going to be the takeaway from Duck fans. That's going to be the takeaway from the pundits. And so I think you go in next year, and every year is pressure for Oregon.
Yes.
But next year, especially because of the experience, they're going to go in with people thinking, we're winning the title.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be one of the favorites to do it, and you're going to be one of the best teams in the country going into the year. It's incredibly difficult to win a national championship. It's incredibly hard. You have to win multiple playoff games. The format's going to continue to change. What will it look like next year? Is it 16 teams? Are there first-round buys? I have no idea. That's all going to evolve in the months to come. But you went into a year this year where you had an unproven quarterback that everybody thought was going to get benched at some point in the year.
Yeah, who thought that?
And you had five returning starters. Five. One on offense. That's it. You know how many you're going to have next year? I think the count, my off the top of my head, the count's about 16 returning starters.
What's the I know Poncho's coming back. What's the offensive line?
It's Poncho and Iuli will be back at center and guard, and then
fill in the blank.
Then it's Crater played, Janoris Wilson played. So there's guys that played, but they weren't every week starters.
Okay.
Look, they still got some work to do. The portal dates and when it all closes is kind of confusing because I think it's supposed to close tomorrow, but then guys are taking visits over the weekend. So there's still a lot more work to do, and I think Oregon's still going to be aggressive. Jordan Seaton, by the way, the second this was announced, sent out a tweet and said, wait a minute, Dante Moore's coming back? And that perked everybody's ears up of like, man, come on, buddy. Could you use a first-round talent at left tackle?
So the portal closes to enter it. Once you are in it.
Got it.
Then you
the
can
date to
sign.
choose.
Other than the title teams, right? The title teams have extension.
So the title teams will have 10 days, like starting the day after the title game.
Yes. So there's a little bit leeway there. So there's some room. They're going to be super aggressive, and they got needs on their roster still because their depth has been hit. But you just look at it on a surface level of. By the way, the other part of this is Evan Stewart has said, as long as Dante's back, I'll be back, because he didn't really want to play for a new quarterback. He's a bit of a quirky guy, could have tested the NFL waters. That was also reported yesterday.
Did he ever get back on the field?
He did not play at all. No,
I was
he
going
didn't
to say,
play down
I
this
don't
year.
remember ever seeing him.
He went, I think they let him for just a moment of, you've had a really hard year. In JMU, they let him put on a uniform and go through warm-ups. Because I was down on the sideline, and I'm like, is he going to, he doesn't look like he's going to play, but he's on what's going on there? So your wide receiver core is Evan Stewart, DeCorian Moore, Jeremiah McClellan. That's just tip of the iceberg. Your running backs, who are two dominant freshmen, are both back this year.
Yep.
You might have the number one tight end in the country next year, and Jamari Johnson.
He's going to be in the running.
Came on like a freight train. You're returning your entire starting defensive line. You have a freshman All-American at corner in Finney. Your other corner is a redshirt freshman in Obadegwu. Aaron Flowers is a redshirt freshman starting at safety for you all year. All of your linebackers, Sans Betcher, are back for next season.
Yep.
You added one of the best secondary players in the portal already in Coy Parrish from Minnesota. Like, at the top level of talent, this roster is as good as you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
A couple of holes left, and we'll see what they can do in the days to come to fill those holes. And then it's about backfilling depth and seeing how many freshmen can maybe come in and play right away. But this was the move that you needed, and I go back to what I said yesterday about Raiola. He was an insurance policy just in case, because if you lose Dante, then you're left wondering what the hell are we going to do, and we'll see if Raiola gets $10 million thrown at him in the next couple of days, because there's still teams out there that are very desperate for quarterbacks.
I was going to bring that up in the next segment. We can carry this over, though. Oregon getting Dante Moore back, and how you feel, your expectations. If you're a Duck, you're a green and yellow fan, I'd imagine you're thinking first natty. How do you not? The quarterback's returning with all the talent Dirt just mentioned. We'll talk about that on the other side. Josh Pate coming up at 7:40. Dirt and Sprague, 105.1, The Fan.
AM.
So Dante Moore's coming back next year for Oregon.
Here we go, man. Here we go.
And next year's title game, by the way, for those interested, is in Beautiful, lovely Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, can't wait to have my heart ripped out. How's it going to happen next year? What's it going to be? What's the domino that falls that I don't see from a mile away? And then it happens, and then I'm heartbroken, and everybody laughs in my face again.
Well, let me just say real quick, because I have a follow-up to that statement.
Yeah.
Raiola may very well be, hey, I want to mature and change my reputation, and Lanning's really good at getting these. Like, how often does a Lanning get a guy to come in like this, and then the kid ends up leaving, right? He's pretty good at it. So, but I am wondering about Miami, who plays a title game Monday.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have an answer right now for the next Beck. And they've been very good at securing the next Beck.
They've been the portal kings of quarterback. Well, one of the portal kings of quarterback.
To not have their next quarterback, and maybe it's just the guy on the roster, and he'll emerge and become a stud.
And they believe in that guy, and we just don't see him practice every day.
If they're willing to give Ty Simpson $6 million, I have to imagine they're reaching out to Dylan Raiola's representatives and saying, "We'll give you $7." They've got to be at the most desperation hour right now.
Yeah, you would think so.
And I don't know if that means Raiola's going to end up leaving, but I am curious about Miami, and we don't need to talk about Raiola right now because he's probably not going to start.
No, but it does, if he stays, give you the best quarterback room in the country and a hell of – you're talking about a above average to good Big Ten starter, not elite. Raiola wasn't elite this year, but
his
he was
numbers
good.
weren't awful.
Oh, numbers weren't off. That's your backup quarterback.
Yep.
Your backup quarterback this year was a walk-on from Sheldon High School. So it's a little bit of a different situation. And how many times have we seen years where, seasons get derailed because the quarterback goes down, right?
Yeah.
So if he does stick around, it gives you a hell of an insurance policy.
So looking ahead a little bit, because we have a lot that we have to sort out. We don't even know all the rosters yet, like who's going to have who. Like Ohio State's losing a lot of kids to the portal.
Yes, they are. Oregon's trying to go after one of their guys they're losing right now. Their elite corner. He's in town visiting today.
Well, they're freaking out in Columbus about this, of like, is this a big sign? Are we in trouble? I don't know what Whittingham can truly accomplish at Michigan year one. Same thing with Campbell at Penn State year one.
Yeah, year ones are tough.
And Indiana is crushed it on the portal transfer stuff, but we'll see if they can carry over the magic from this year into what next year is.
Yeah.
I'm more curious for you. Like, if I tell you you don't suffer multiple massive injuries, whatever that may be in your brain.
Right, an entire position group being out for the biggest game of the year.
What is the thing for you that you look at the team on paper and you see, okay, that guy's back, that guy's back, that guy's back, but you're still concerned about their ability to finally win their first national championship?
Two very easy answers for you.
Okay.
Outside of injuries, and that is a thing for everybody, right? Like, guys go down and, your team gets banged up. It's hard to overcome it, right? Sans that.
Yes.
There's two key things that they got to address the rest of the way. If you get anything more than this, it's icing on the cake. It is, one, you need to upgrade your offensive line. You just do. Now, I think they have belief internally, again, in Fox Crater and Janoris Wilson, who both played this year, and they were fine when they played. Crater a little bit better maybe than Wilson, but Wilson a smaller sample size because he played in a couple of games and he got hurt and missed the rest of the year. Those are your internal candidates to tackle, plus the guy that you got from Yale. When I look at you in the last 2 years in your biggest moments, Ohio State last year, what did they do? They dominated you at the line of scrimmage. When you went against Texas Tech, who, yes, had one of the best fronts in the country. So I give you the benefit of the doubt there.
They're going to have one of the best fronts next year, by
yes,
the way.
they will, and you might run into them again. Yep. So I get it, but it's you couldn't run the football at all against them. You averaged less than 2 yards a carry. That's not good enough. And it was a hard comparison in the Indiana game, again, because of the running back situation, but that was, again, a battle that your offensive line lost. And so the first thing that I circle that will keep this from coming to fruition is not upgrading your offensive line to the point. I've mentioned this for years now. If there's a critique of Lanning and his roster building, there's not a lot of them because he's been phenomenal and very good. It is he's not been great at finding and developing offensive linemen. Outside of Connerly and Poncho, like Dave Iuli's a decent right guard. He's not an NFL draft pick, though. Like, he's a fine college player, but there's a difference there. And so I'm going big game hunting on the offensive line, and then I still maintain one of the biggest weaknesses that you had defensively that I think it got better as the year went on, and to his credit, he played great, I think, in the last 2 months of the year in Bryce Petcher. A green dot middle linebacker that's orchestrating everything, that's played a lot of football, that can play sideline to sideline and can fill the gap. Like, those are the biggest things that I would circle of. Your defensive line is all back. Sans injury again because you lost some depth. So your defensive line, though, starting is all back. Your secondary, I'm not that concerned about. You're loaded at wide receiver. You could add a piece at running back if you want, but that's picky choosy. Tight end should be fine. Like, quarterback's obviously settled now. Those are the two big things that you need to go after.
One person says it's all mental with Dante. Needs to learn how to play after a big hit. He also needs to learn to not hesitate. And that's part of the reason he's coming back, right? Is the areas of his game that everybody was going to nitpick and say, this is why he's not number one, he's not better than Mendoza. It wasn't just the Peach Bowl. They would find this in multiple games. You're like, what's going on between this quarter and that quarter, and why you weren't really much of a threat?
If you hit him, man, that's the knock on him. If you hit him, he doesn't like being hit.
I think that's the tough thing. I will always allow the ability, especially in this version of college football. We've been wrong on a lot of quarterbacks who have gone from one place and we're like, meh, to another place and been amazing. Mendoza's doing this right now. It's not that he can't change. It's just there's elements of his game. I'll be very curious to see through the journey, and I forget their schedule, but of all the big games next year, at least on paper going in.
Yeah, we don't know the timing of them, but we know who they play.
When you mention the mental side of the game for a quarterback,
that's what he needs. Like
I know, but that's a hard. That's
it's not
an
easy.
easy thing to suddenly change and be different in, right?
No doubt about it. I would say for him, and this is where there's another angle of this of just. It's a gamble on his part, and I fully acknowledge that. There's no guarantee that you come back next year and you have a great year and you're the number one overall pick.
McShay says he's passing up $48 guaranteed $1 million based on the salary last year.
Absolute roll of the dice. I respect the hell out of it, not because of my fandom, but because I view it as it's a gamble on yourself. It's a belief in yourself that I can get there. And when you truly make the generational money is the second contract in the NFL.
Gotcha.
And it's about how you get there. Do you realize if Dante Moore was drafted, he would have to wait a month until he could go out and drink at a bar and celebrate with his teammates?
Yeah.
He didn't turn 21 until May. He's made less than 20 starts. I give him a ton of credit for betting on himself and making the decision that he's clearly not ready. And if you throw these guys into the mix right away, that's $50 million guaranteed. You got your bank account. Congratulations on that. Is Anthony Richardson ever going to start a game in the NFL again?
Probably not.
Right? And I don't know if he comes back from Florida, if he's I don't know how that plays out. And to your point, there's no guarantee that if Dante comes back, he fixes all the things that he needs to fix. But even without fixing those things, he was a 32 touchdown, 10 pick guy and had a pretty decent year this year. And so good base level to work with. I give him a ton of credit for making the mature decision.
Let's talk with the commissioner of college football, Josh Pate, right around the corner. And Sprague back with more. But first, Swag with the sports update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the NFL coaching carousel going to start unwinding now. The first hire appears to be going down in New York. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Giants set to sign John Harbaugh as their next head coach, barring a setback as the lawyers work through the final contract numbers. The Ducks excited to welcome quarterback Dante Moore back for his senior season. He announced on Wednesday he's not entering the NFL draft despite being a projected top 5 pick. Blazers back home tonight, welcoming the Atlanta Hawks to the Moda Center and their new guard C.J. McCollum. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant questionable in the game time decision. The Hawks now 4.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard for the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for the AM.
The commissioner of college football, Josh Pate, will join us coming up here. Week 1 next season. We don't have dates for all this stuff, but the first 3 games we do, September 5th, Saturday, if you're wondering, hey, Sprague, what will you be doing? Well, I'll be sitting down. I'll probably try to enjoy some college football and hope for the best for my team. What will Dirt be doing?
Take your hands and put it down your pants, son.
We know what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, we're playing the team that I never want to play again because we, for whatever reason, have a very hard time beating them right out of the gate next year. Why are we playing Boise State again? Should be that's like I'm sending a memo to Rob Mullins. Banish them from ever being on our schedule.
You just want to play another Portland State?
Yes, give me 2 of them. Why the hell not? Signetti can get away with it and they're undefeated. Why can't I play Old Dominion and Indiana State in non-conference? Why are we playing Boise?
Yeah, you're not wrong for that, but I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, it's an interesting opening game. And then on one of your other non-conference games, remember there's no Civil War next year, is at Oklahoma State, who you should beat. Oklahoma State was horrible this year, but it's more interesting because they got the Mestermaker kid coming in.
Yeah, we'll see if Morris
who's
is going
really
to turn
good.
that around quickly.
I imagine the vibes at Oklahoma State will be better next year than they were this year when everybody was kind of ready for Gundy to wrap it up and be done.
It's okay. If you want any encouraging news, somebody said, I hate this. Go Beavs. Screw you, Dirt. How about this one for Oregon State? The latest article out of OregonLive.com for Oregon State. There's been these Q&As with Shepard.
Yeah.
And basically it's been, we don't have a lot of money, and I'm trying to do the best I can.
We're trying to make things work here.
Ryan Clark, our great friend there, did a report where Oregon State's assistant coaches' salaries are under Jamarcus Shepard are much lower than they were in any other year. In the year you're supposed to be
that you're
getting the fans excited and back, and
you're in a conference.
You're in an actual conference now. That's not like 2-team gimmicky weird conference thing.
You have a normal schedule again.
You got a playoff. You got a playoff shot here, and
you're not randomly playing Appalachian State on the road in November. Is that what you're telling me?
And they've decided to choose. This is the year to be the cheapest we possibly can.
This is when you should do it. Right now, right when things matter, and you hire a new head coach is when you really start pinching pennies. Because if I know anything about college football, pinching pennies leads to a lot of wins.
That's when you win games. Oregon's not going to win it next year because they're spending too much money. They need to be cheaper.
We killed the local GM when he said it, and rightfully so, because he looked like an idiot in the aftermath of we're going to go so all in, it's going to hurt, right? You're going to be in pain, you're going to be so all in, and then we never went all in, and so that ended up aging horribly.
We actually folded.
We did. We folded, put our cards in the middle of the hand, and we traded away our best player. We're folding.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Scott Barnes has done here. He has promised something that he cannot deliver, or he's choosing not to deliver. I don't know which one of the two it is.
Just setting up your brand new coach who was excited to be here in the worst possible way.
Why would you come out with quotes saying our staff pool and our roster and our coach salary will all be at the top of the new conference, and then do you not think we could find this out?
This is all,
all of this information is going to be made public.
Exactly.
So,
and you're a public institution, so there's public records
Yes,
requests.
people are filing those constantly, and they did it with your Blueprint deal that blew up in your face. It's his absolute insanity that he's getting away with having that job still.
Yeah, let me look at this right now. So their offensive coordinator makes $400. Defensive line is $325. This is via OregonLive.com. So Guidry's gone, so scratch that right off. He was making $300. I'm sure the next guy will make $250. Court Dennison $275. Eaton $250. $225. $225. $200. $140.
Yeah.
Tough.
War chest, man.
Good reporting, though.
Ryan Clark's doing a hell of a job right now.
He's crushing the beat. There's not a lot to write about.
No.
And he's finding stuff to write about.
It's a lot of depressing information, but it's still good to know and to hold people accountable. So I'm enjoying I'm not enjoying his coverage, but I think it's been great to shed some light on what's going on behind the scenes.
All right, let's not delay anymore. Let's talk about Dante Moore's decision to come back at Oregon. Is the commissioner of college football, Josh Pate, think Oregon is his preseason one if he had to pick right now? Get his thoughts on the national championship. What he's made of all of what's going on in college football. Josh Pate joins us at his normal time. Coming up next on 105.1 The Fan.
FM and 1080 AM.
Well, it's a busy show today. We got a major guest. We're going to get to that in just a second. Mike Silver's going to join us at 8:30, and then Brady Henderson of ESPN covers the Seahawks will join us at 9:30, and it's Thursday, so we're going to magic hat it up at 9 a.m., but we're excited to bring on one of our favorites for the next couple weeks. His schedule's insane, so him even being on right now is nuts considering we just saw his beautiful face on television. Josh Pate, the commissioner of college football, the Josh Pate College Football Show on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursdays, the Locker Room with Bussin' with the Boys, and you can catch him all over ESPN. Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you for hopping on with us. Dante Moore is returning. Is Oregon the 2026 preseason #1 for you?
Let me look at what the teleprompter says here. All right, the prompter says yes.
Hey,
so yes,
there we go.
they are. Absolutely,
Yes.
they
All
are.
right, it's working.
Look, even if they weren't, I know what's happened up there emotionally in the last couple of weeks, and it's January. So no one's really even going to remember what we're saying in a few months. So absolutely, I'm going to tell you yes, even if I have my fingers crossed behind my back.
I'm just turning these interviews now into like my therapy sessions because I don't want to pay to see a therapist. So you become my college football therapist. I'm hearing that Dan Franklin is my coach now, Josh. I don't know how to react to this. We're getting blown out in big games. We get close. This is what the internet's telling me.
Why did you do that to
I
yourself?
got James Lanning running my program, and I'm a little concerned that this is all going to. Aller came back last year, Pate, and then it imploded, and he got fired. In all seriousness, like what's the advice to Oregon fan on how to figure out how to mentally react to this season where you're maybe a year ahead of schedule, you're 11-1, you win playoff games. Look at that. You're heading in the right direction, and then the thing happened again that you didn't think was going to happen again.
Oh, man. All right, this is loaded. Let me see if I can answer this in the next 20 minutes. Okay, so the first part of it is, as I told you guys last week, the Dan Franklin, the James Lanning, that was coming. And sure enough, it got shot right in my face as soon as they lost the game. First question in the mailbag the next show. Hey, bro, I want you to tell me, what's the difference in James Franklin and Dan Lanning? I told the guy, hey, well, I got two, actually. Yeah. Lanning beat him in the Big Ten title game and then again in his own building and got him fired earlier this year. So there are a couple of key differences between Lanning and James Franklin, if we want to get into the details of the whole thing. But I do understand the sentiment. Even if I disagree with it, I do understand the sentiment. So let's go down this road for just a second. You said something there that I don't think most of the country cares to hear, but you did add some context, and you said, should we look at this as we were a year ahead of schedule? Mm-hmm. And I looked at it that way. Now, I thought they had a good shot maybe because even Oregon, sort of without their best fastball, in many years could be good enough to contend for a title because there really are no, super teams anymore, or we thought there weren't, but maybe Indiana put one together. Yeah. But I think that it's always very important to go team by team instead of lumping like someone's career into one little snowball. And every game is an indictment on their career. The fact of the matter is Oregon's got a really, really good talent roster up there. They've continued to build. They've continued, in my opinion, to progress. So, like, linearly, are you headed in the right direction? My answer has been yes with them. You've got the 2 blowout losses in the past 2 playoffs. Those suck. There's no excuse to be exposed like that. Both of those things can be true. And then the third thing is, who's my head coach, and where is he on his sort of career arc and career trajectory? My head coach is Dan Lanning. He's has he even turned 40 yet, or is he still
39?
39, yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to call him in his 30s because that sounds really good. It makes you sound really, really young. So he's in his 30s. I define Nick Saban as the best of all time. Guy won 7 or 8 national championships. I keep forgetting how many. Either way, it's more than half a dozen. And he won his first one when he was 52 years old. So if you really look at it in that context, Lanning's over a decade younger than the best of all time won his first, or when the best of all time won his first national title. I say all that to say it's okay to be very angry with how the thing ended. It's okay to have questions, but at the same time still think, pound for pound, you probably have one of the very best in the business doing it for you and doing it at a high level. And every time you go through one of these things, whether it's Ohio State last year, whether it's the way the season ended this year, also keep in mind you're losing both coordinators during that whole process. You learn lessons. The big key for Lanning and the big key for everyone up there is how are they properly applied moving forward where they're better because of it. That's the part we can't know. Like, I don't have an ounce less confidence in him today than I did when we talked a week and a half ago or whenever that was. But I do understand that it's a results-based business, and it's an outcomes-based business, rather. So I do get the trepidation for people who do feel it. But I would just say Oregon is still the envy of most of the sport.
I know Cignetti is sitting in the spot where everybody points to him and uses the term genius, and I got an Indiana question for you, but I want to ask you on coaching specifically because people do walk away from Oregon losing back-to-back playoff games in blowout fashion, and then they presume to say, well, this about Dan Lanning and who he is as a coach. We know he's a great culture builder, great program builder. He gets the Jimmies and the Joes. I'm curious, does Josh Pate, the commissioner, when he goes into big game matchups, the Kirbys, the Lannings, the Days, the Cignettis, etc., how often when you're making picks are you doing coach versus Jimmies and Joes? Because we know the players got to win the game, but we also see at times some coaches are able to outcoach each other. Lanning's in this elite conversation for many. I don't know if he's number 1, number 3, or 5, but where is he at when you talk about the coaches that when you have a team against another team and the talent is similar, you feel like you have the advantage when we're talking about the elite teams?
Yeah, I think it's fair to observe that they've put themselves or they've been put at a coaching and staffing disadvantage in these moments in the playoffs. I think that's fair. It's really a small sample size, but I'm not going to push back on it because the evidence is right there in front of your face. How wide is that gap? I don't know. Also, this year, you really can't quantify what it meant to be losing 2 coordinators in that process. Like, I think A&M suffered badly from that. I think Oregon suffered badly from that, but I can't quantify it, so it just sounds like sour grapes when you say it, but I still think it's true. But broadly, in the playoffs, I value that way more than in the regular season. Because in the playoffs, you just kind of come to assume all the teams are going to be at least good, varying levels of good. So you're not really so much thinking someone could outcoach someone else, but the talent gap will make up for it. Well, there really is not much of a huge talent gap normally in a playoff setting. And if there is a talent gap, it's been overcome, and a team like Indiana has just learned to fill in all the cracks with, like, the strongest mortar in the sport. So it really does come down to staffing. You've got a longer prep time. Normally you've got a lot of advanced scouting because you know within a team or two who you could theoretically play. So you're getting an absolute bullseye placed on your opponents, and you're given really good staff, extended time to prepare, and that's both pre-prep and then in-game strategy and adjustments. It all gets exposed, and Oregon's gotten exposed a little bit there. But that's a real 50,000-foot thing. Because then if you were to follow up and you were to say, all right, let's drill down, like specific areas, I don't know the answer to that. I think maybe there may be some very smart people who could give you some more nuanced and granular detail on that, probably coaches who are watching these games. But I think that, if I were looking at a delivery room, I don't have to be a doctor to know an ugly baby when I see one. And I don't have to be a football aficionado to know that when you've got glaring outcomes like this, there is probably a staff being exposed by another staff.
Yeah, ugly babies stick out like a sore thumb, man. I'm with you 100%
I don't want to be
on
mean
that.
here, dude. Like, babies eventually get cute. Like,
a lot of them are
99.9% of all babies when they're born are super ugly.
Pretty ugly babies. Well, and also, too, like
they look like aliens.
The ugly baby coaching thing, too, is like how much of his coaching when your quarterback kind of poops his pants on the first play of the game, throws a pick six, and then the running back runs into the quarterback's hand and turns the ball over inside the 10-yard line. And you tell the best team in the country who doesn't make mistakes, here you go, here's 14 points. Let's see if we can make up for this. That's the hard part I have in reacting to the game, too, is like how much of it is coaching in that. I wanted to ask you a Raiola question because that was – look, I have comments out there now that are coming home to roost because the Patrick Mahomes stuff's a little cringy and, it's been weird. And maybe we should have seen the writing on the wall the second Mahomes put a duck jersey on after they beat him in the Oregon beat Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. What do you make of him making this decision, like to be the next Dante potentially? And then offshoot of that, I know there is a national championship game Monday. I'm trying to not think about it, but there will be a game played. They will crown a champion. What is Miami doing at quarterback next year? And is there a possibility that, like, they're looking around the room and there's nobody left and all of a sudden Dylan Raiola's phone starts ringing again? I think there's a distinct possibility of that. And I'm talking to you with no knowledge of that, by the way, because I hate the portal. I hate portal season. So yeah.
I just normally find out when everyone else does. But we did a segment even on our show the other night about, Miami's in the national title game. Oh, by the way, turn the page. Next page says, what are they about to do at quarterback next year? Which is stupid that you're talking about those same things at the same time, but welcome to college football right now. I don't know what they're going to do. I do know that I was down there in the spring watching them practice, and I saw Emory Jones, and Emory Jones is a good kid. a good solid backup option, but he's not starting quarterback material, I don't think, for Miami. And so Carson Beck's gone. I mean, he's roughly the same age as Lanning, so he does not have any more eligibility. And so we're going to have to find out whose ink is really dry on their term sheets or whatever, NLIs. And then secondly, this got presented to me the other day. The whole concept of a buyout. Again, I feel gross. I'm going to jump in the shower as I finish this point. That's how gross it feels. You can go buy guys out of their contracts. Mm-hmm. That is the same thing you can do with a head coach. You theoretically can do it with a player. And so in that sense, the way it's been explained to me, all right, let me get my shampoo out. Here's my soap. It could be a situation where even a guy that you signed and he's put pen to paper is still on the radar. Because I got news for you. If Miami's willing to offer Ty Simpson $6.5 million, they are desperate enough to spend way, way above and beyond what someone else has spent for a quarterback.
I was going to ask you Indiana here, but you just made me think. Like the Damon Williams story was fascinating for a couple days. He had to pivot, and he's like, "Oh, actually, I've changed my mind." Like, no, you legally had to change your mind. Like, would you, if you're a fan of that team? I know you were very removed of being a fan of one specific team, but if you're a fan of a team or you're close to a team, I don't understand how this is going to operate in a successful way. A guy literally didn't want to be there. He chose to leave during a memorial service, which mattered a great deal to people on that university. And, like, the wife of the coach called him out, and then, like, 24 hours later, after all the noise, he's like, actually, I changed my mind.
Just kidding.
Would you want your quarterback to do that? Where would you be at that on that story?
I plan on paying my taxes this year. Did I tell you guys that?
You did.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Yeah,
and
look
I
at you.
wasn't going to.
What a
I
citizen.
wasn't going to.
Okay.
I got to be real. Like
right.
over Christmas, I thought about it, but then new year, new me. I decided to pay my taxes this year. I'm also going to drive on the right side of the road to work today. So these are personal decisions that I myself am making, much like Damon Williams. That whole thing was pathetic. I don't know how much of it is him, how much of it is just terrible advice being in his ear. I do understand that all these dudes are over 18 years old. So I do understand legally they are adults. For some reason, I still have not crossed the mental Rubicon in my own mind of looking at college players and thinking that they're no different than NFL players. They're all just adults. I don't think that way. So to me, I still say kids all the time. They're still kids. It's obvious he got some horrifically bad advice. It's obvious that he was getting advice from someone stupid enough not to know how rules actually work, and those are just college football agents, in another word. And I'd hate it, man. I was down in Atlanta. Where were we? We were doing the Peach Bowl down in Atlanta when that whole story had kind of just happened and it had concluded. And I was talking on radio with Jacob Hester, who played at LSU for a while. And he's like, 20 or so years ago, he was of that 2000s era. And he was just saying, like, if someone ever did that, even 20 years ago, not that long ago, someone did that, they wouldn't be able to walk in the locker room. I don't think they'd even have the courage to walk in the locker room again. And he said, so, that's how I feel about it. But I don't know, like these days, who knows what the dynamic of a locker room is. Like, clearly you know what it would have been a generation ago. Clearly I know how I feel. You guys clearly feel the same way as I do. Like, I got nothing, man. I'm not even looking you in the eye. That's how little respect I have for you. But again, I'm not a 19-year-old wide receiver. I don't really know how those guys feel about that right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one to follow. I will slip in a national championship game question. I think the line's somewhere 8.5, right at, in that territory, gone up a little bit in Indiana's favor. Just two-parter for you. What do you make of the game? Feels like Miami's somewhat similar to Oregon in that they do a lot of stuff that can hurt themselves, but maybe better at the line of scrimmage. So if they can avoid that, maybe it's a game. And then a follow-up to that of I'm just curious what you make of Indiana going into the future, because there's such a unique outlier story of like, how the hell is this happening? Mendoza's been unbelievable. Is this something that you see being a consistent year in and year out? What's the future outlook for an Indiana?
There's no way that they are this consistently good year in and year out, and that's even considering that they'll end up being more talented. This is probably the least talented team he'll have in his remainder of his time there, however long he stays. But that doesn't really matter. Like, ultimately, it's about the quality of team you can put on the field. They will never put a higher quality team on the field, because I think it's almost impossible to put a higher quality team on the field. The efficiency numbers that they have put up are beyond off the charts. So, I cannot tell you how many times I've watched coaches come in. Saban did this at Alabama. When he first got to Alabama, his 08 team, goes from being 7-6 to being 12-0 in the regular season, and then they win the national title the next year, and they beat Tebow, and they're sitting there thinking, boy, he just won a national title, and these are one of his first 2 recruiting classes. Imagine how good we'll be once the entire program is full of his players. Well, what happened is Alabama went on to be way more talented than they were in 09, and they proceeded to never have a team play like the 09 team did. Because there's a lot to be said for the guys who were there first. There's a lot to be said for that first dynamic, that true team dynamic. It's sort of pristine. It's like fresh snowfall before kids have run through it. And there is also that dynamic of you got a full building full of people whose attitude is, what can I do for Indiana? Just like back then. I've heard him talk about this many times. He said it was a bunch of guys with a what can I do for Alabama mentality. And from that point on, try as we might, we always had a little bit of what can Alabama do for me in the building. And Curt Cignetti will deal with that. I don't care how finely tuned your player filters are. You will deal with that to an extent. But that's okay. That's consequence of success. Yeah. As for the game, Indiana is a 39,000-foot cruising altitude team. They've been there all year virtually. They don't really go up or down. They don't fluctuate. So it's really hard to beat them. It's really hard to get to 40,000 feet. I think Miami at their best can cruise at 40,000 for 4 quarters. Not for a whole season. They're way too inconsistent for that. But if I think I'm going to get them at their best, I do think there's a shot here. I think they've got a shot on the line of scrimmage to disrupt the way that Alabama and Oregon ended up not being able to do. I think they got a chance to avoid that sort of dam break moment that Indiana has quickly achieved in the first halves of both of these previous 2 games. And they got a chance to make the game look like Ohio State did. The difference is they may be able to be a little more efficient in taking advantage of scoring opportunities. And so, I don't know. I watched that Miami team early this year. You guys know. I talked to you about it before. I said, I don't think anyone looks like them in the country. That got taken to mean no one is as good as them in the country, which I never said. However, it got bastardized into that. So I feel like here at the very end, I do have to go down. I feel like Leo. I feel like Kate Winslet. We're on the stern, and the ship is about to go underwater. Like, at this point, you just hold your breath, you hold hands, you look for the nearest door, and you hope for the best.
Well, look at it this way, because we appreciate you hopping on today. This is Josh Pate, College Football Show, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Locker Room Busting the Boys, ESPN. We may at some point in our future in our relationship, we may end up being your Leo DiCaprio. You need to break us away because you're too popular, you're too in demand, you don't have time. You may need to survive and keep that blue diamond necklace. Because yesterday, Front Office Sports does this big article on you, and I'm just curious, how many cousins suddenly hit you up when your financial sentence was thrown into that story of what ESPN is going to be meaning to you in the future?
Well, if I can give you my itinerary for Sunday, if this is any indication, I had to make a schedule adjustment. We're going to Miami for the national title game Sunday. That was always the plan. I now have to add a stop. Imagine telling your pilot you have to have them stop in Wetumpka, Alabama on your way to Miami. Find an airstrip long enough. We got to land there because we have a family reunion because, Aunt Winnie's in her mid-90s.
Oh,
so we have to go see her. But we also have several people who just kind of shot you the text, unfamiliar numbers, of course, shot you the text, hey, I assume we're going to see you Sunday, right? so to answer your question, it's a solid yes. I think we all know what I mean. Yes.
Hey, dude, we're super excited and happy for you. Christmas got more expensive in your future, but it's all worth it because you get to live your dream and continue on covering college football. One of the best, the commissioner of college football, Josh Pate. Catch him on YouTube at Josh Pate College Football Show, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, getting ready for the Natty and the Locker Room with Bussin' with the Boys and ESPN. Thank you so much, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it, boys. Pleasure as always.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. The commissioner, Josh Pate, on Dante Moore in Oregon next year, landing and where he falls in the coaching conversation. There is a lot there. I always forget where I'm at. Is this the third hour? Or
we
is
are
this the
now
break
going
before
into the third hour.
Okay.
We're there technically, but
well, I know we're there.
We got to take a break, and
right.
then the third hour will begin.
We can react to that. Also, what would you do if somebody wrote an article about you and then basically put your finances in the article? How would you handle that? I might have to put that into the Magic Hat today because I'm reading this and I'm like, that's a sentence I wish was not written because nobody's going to believe me when you're like, I'm not making that much money.
I'm not that rich. What are you talking about?
I'm rich, but I'm not that rich.
I'm doing okay, I guess.
A lot to get to in the third hour of the program. Mike Silver will join us at 8:30. Magic Hat, Brady Henderson, Dirt and Sprague, 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the first hire of the NFL offseason appears to be finishing up in New York this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Giants set to sign John Harbaugh as their next head coach, barring a setback as lawyers work through the final contract numbers. Blazers back home tonight hosting the Atlanta Hawks and former guard C.J. McCollum, 7 o'clock tip. You can see it on KUNP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant questionable in a game-time decision. Denny Avdia upgraded to doubtful with his back injury. Hawks 4.5-point favorites. College hoops for you on 910 ESPN Portland this evening. The Oregon women visiting Iowa, 6 o'clock tip. Pre-game coverage begins at 5:30. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Recruiting with Sports Network.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3, Dirt and Sprague here, Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 FM The Fan, 1080 AM, the Odyssey app, live on YouTube. Are we ready to give C.J. McCollum a standing ovation tonight?
That guy is.
What if he showed up? You think he ever shows his face in Portland again?
I think he still lives in Lake.
Does he still live in Lake Oswego? I thought he was working
assume.
for the... Didn't he work for somebody?
Sixers.
Sixers? Did he
But I
not
think
move?
he's just a consultant.
Just remote work. He's just zooming in once a week
Yeah,
to give him
probably
bad
flies
advice.
in, meets
If
with
you
him
own
once
a
month.
multi-million-dollar home in Lako,
Yeah, you're
your
staying
kids
there.
are younger or still in school.
Does
Does
why
he
would
have
you-
how old are his kids? I don't know about his family
I
situation.
think
Does
they're
he have younger kids?
Maybe
Middle
they're high
school or
school,
high
just
school,
at the
somewhere
Oh,
in
okay.
there.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was just asking. Maybe he shows up tonight, pays
See him
homage.
walking around the
What
lake
would
in
you
his
do?
Captain Steubing socks.
Say
And
you spend decent money to go to this game because it's the Hawks, it's cheap, and you're sitting in like the mid-100 section, and then just like, excuse me, and sits right next to you,
Yeah.
is
It's
Neil
just
O'Shea.
silver hair or white-haired Neil O'Shea.
You say, I don't think, and nobody's saying anything.
Take a moment to probably register because I haven't seen him in public in such a long time that you're like, oh my God. And then once it dawned on you,
Would you go,
no, I think if he was with somebody and actually like said something, that voice you would like, oh, it is.
you'd recognize him?
Yeah.
and then would you do the George Costanza dad thing? How dare you trade Griffey or Buhner?
I think you do it in a very calm, nice way of like, yeah, I had some problems. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Well,
Can
that's
you
sexy,
explain
Neil.
to me why we didn't make that trade?
Can you explain to me why we had an undersized backcourt for nearly a decade that couldn't play any defense and we thought that was going to make a deep run in the playoffs?
What were you thinking when you said adding the offseason and meant 53 wins? Was that the worst thing you
Aminu
ever
to the
said out
4?
loud?
What'd you make of your buddy NBA coach who you sipped a bottle of water when he was hired getting arrested for a gambling ring?
Yeah. Heard from Chauncey lately?
Yeah, talk to your guy at all? Do you see, by the way, there's one of those floating around today in college hoops. There's a bunch of players be getting swept up into a bribery scandal in college hoops
yeah,
this
the
morning.
whole point shaving thing.
Got point shaving going on.
Yeah, this isn't as bad as we make it to believe. People are like, look at what gambling's done.
Oh, the point shaving thing?
Well, I
Yeah.
listened
Oh,
to
no,
a-
I think this has been going on for years. I just think now that it's above board, we're actually finding it out.
No, I'm saying I listened to a soccer podcast for obvious reasons.
Oh, soccer and tennis match fixing has been going
Dude,
on
it's a
forever.
regular occurrence that never gets attention.
Yeah.
But it happens here. It's somewhat new to sports gamble, and so it's like, oh my God, it's ruined everything.
Right.
People in England are like, I don't know, man, match fixing's happening all the time. We just bust the people and we move on.
You get rid of them and you move on, man. That's all you got to do. Somebody said I'd ask him to bifurcate a hot dog with me. That's it, Hey, Neil, you want to bifurcate this thing? Remember his one word of press conference that he would use?
Yep. His word
Making
of the
himself
day.
his word of the day.
Word of the day calendar.
Word of the day calendar.
Can I
Flip it.
bifurcate that check, please?
Yes, can we do that? Coming up bottom of the hour, Mike Silver will join us, talk some NFL. He was in Pittsburgh for the final game of the Mike Tomlin era, so he'll hop on. Love chatting with him. He's given us great stories in the years past. We've had him on about coaches and the relationships and all that. I'm fascinated to ask him about the LaFleur, Ben Johnson stuff. It seems like it's not going anywhere. It's been doubled down that Ben Johnson, I hate those guys. Rivalries are good. LaFleur's kind of being a little bitch. He's not saying much. Is he going to keep his job? I don't know. I think it's awesome
he
for the
is,
NFL.
But,
For one more year at least. Unless he's on. Then he's on an expiring deal, and they don't let people work on an expiring contract. Let me ask you this. So we talked about earlier about Harbaugh. A lot of stuff on Dante Moore today, who announced yesterday that he was coming back. Now that we know, I think the NFL coaching market, this is kind of the way like baseball free agency works when you got a real big fish out there. Everybody's kind of waiting. Like, who's going to land the big fish? And then all the other dominoes fall after that. Because if you're Atlanta, if you're Tennessee, what were you hoping up until last night? That you had a chance to go hire John Harbaugh, right? Now you pivot to option 2. I put you in the shoes of a team who is looking for a head coach. So we're down to what, 7, I think, right? After the Giants are filled, I think there's 7 openings remaining. Which of the retread coaches would get you most excited? Because a lot of these guys are. You got, the Robert Saleh in San Francisco who's interviewing for jobs. Brian Flores, who's interviewing for jobs. Kevin Stefanski, who's interviewing for jobs. Mike McDaniel, who just got fired, who's interviewing for jobs. All these guys are either recently fired, just fired, or were fired a year or 2 ago and are now seeking a new head coaching job. I don't know how many of them will end up landing a gig as opposed to maybe a new candidate that we're not talking about as much. Which of the retreads gets you most excited as an NFL franchise?
That's a hard one because of what the rosters are at these places.
All of them
that
are totally different.
I think right now I'm going to go and buck an opinion I've had routinely for a long time here. I'm a real big believer of I want my head coach to be an offensive guy. I want him to be basically a McVay, a Shanahan, a LaFleur, a play caller who is entirely focused on making my offense good. But some of these circumstances and these teams and their situations make me trend to go, I might lean defense. Like Flores, McDaniel, Saleh,
Stefanski, those are probably the big 4.
Like, you can think whatever you think about all 4 of those coaches. Where did they coach? Miami, Cleveland, the Jets. Have any of those franchises done anything in a long time?
No, they have not.
So, even if you can point the warts out of these coaches, I also have to take into consideration, where did they coach? Well, they're coaching at places that routinely turn rosters over. They routinely run coaches out after not being patient enough. I think Saleh is generally great vibes, really smart defensive guy. Didn't go well for the Jets. Also didn't help that Rodgers popped his freaking Achilles on the first play or second play of the game.
Yeah, that year, because year 1 was Wilson, I think, the starter for 1 year there, or a part of the year. I think they drafted Wilson right away.
Yeah,
had
and
that
then
year. Then they brought in Rodgers, and play 1 year, years down.
So it's I don't know what you expect any coach to do, and so the next year doesn't go well. Oh, you're fired. You're out of here. You're not the guy.
Yeah, get him out.
Players will swear by that dude. Look at San Francisco right now. The fact that their defense played as well as they did, I think, it speaks to him. Brian Flores. I was never really that impressed. I don't think he handled the Tua stuff right. But, my God, every time your team, especially if you have a young quarterback, goes against the Vikings now, you're just going to assume that's going to be a rock fight, and you're hoping your quarterback doesn't throw a pick 6 to end the game. If these guys can get the right offensive minds with them, I think those are great hires.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of Shula. He's got a lot of people that swear by him and what he's done with the Rams.
Yeah, there's a lot of the first-time candidates that are interested. Like Jesse Minter. He's a great defensive mind, but
I don't want to eliminate the idea because Mike McDonald in Seattle is
awesome.
off to a great start.
Been awesome.
I think right now, McDaniel's smart, obviously, Dayball and Stefanski. I think if you were to ask me, if I'm Baltimore, who can I hire? I'm probably picking a Saleh or a Flores, but I do want to make sure, you got your offense in order. That's such an easier thing said than done.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, then you love everything those guys bring. The players will love them. Your defense is going to be solid and steady and good. But the one thing you don't want, and hold this for when they get to the Super Bowl, but D'Amico's struggling with this right now. It's the only thing he has struggled with in Houston. He just has to figure out his offense. Once he does, that's a situation I think a lot of us say, all right, well, watch out for that because the defense is probably never going to fall off.
Here they come. There's no doubt about that. The other one that I forgot about as a retread, who is getting interviews again and getting looked at, we ready for our guy Mike McCarthy to come back in the fold?
What team is picking him?
Of the available candidates, he certainly would not be near the top of my list. He would not be one of the guys that I would be aggressively
Would you rather have
after.
him, Antonio Pierce, or Arthur Smith?
Oh, my God.
I think you're choosing him.
Can't you see McCarthy ending up at the
Bad
Raiders?
news, Dirk.
Because
I was going to say the Cardinals.
I would take McCarthy.
Of those three.
Of those
three, yeah.
Like the Pierce stuff is interesting because it went horribly this year in Vegas, and so vindicated is not the right word because he was terrible too. They just were terrible the year after firing him, so it wasn't like there was some grandiose turnaround. And I want nothing to do with Arthur Smith. As my offensive coordinator, as my quarterback coach, as my head coach, as my
FedEx
passing game
boy.
coordinator, as my run game coordinator, my offensive line coach, wide receiver coach, tight end coach, I want nothing to do with that guy.
Yeah.
Has he ever been good? Can anybody point me to the time when Arthur Smith was really good?
It's the most scared of Arthur Smith you've
How
ever
the hell
been in
did he
your
get a
life.
head coaching job in the first place?
Because his dad created FedEx. Remember we talked about that. He's the Nepo hire.
He's the Nepo hire from Memphis. I know that. Let
My
me
dad's
see.
a billionaire. I'm just going to coach football then.
So before he was the offensive coordinator for the Titans when they had
He's
Ryan
interviewed with them.
Tannehill and
Yes.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And that got him a head coaching job.
I mean, did they
with
get the AFC title game?
They did.
Saying.
I'll just tell you this. You give me Derrick Henry running the ball in the prime of his career, I'm going to look great as a head coach. That guy failing up is fascinating. I just get, like, we were waiting for that first big fish to get landed, and now it's been landed. Although, I's and T's still getting crossed and dotted.
Yeah.
But now I think all of this stuff will start to move a little bit quicker.
What did you make of the rumor mill stuff with Freeman? He came out finally and
We can get to that because I want to stick in the NFL.
well, also Signetti's name got brought up when Tomlin left, and that was kind of a juicy thing for 24 hours.
It was for a little bit. The Freeman stuff, if you're a Notre Dame fan, a little bit concerned. We'll talk a little bit about.
Really?
I mean, there was nothing in there that made me think he's going to be at Notre Dame in 5 years.
Oh, I agree with that.
I
Yeah.
don't know if he's going to leave this cycle, but
yeah.
you have an expiration date on that, and maybe that's the case
I
for
don't
almost
think
every
any
coach.
program should really sit and go 5 years from now for sure is going to be.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, there you are. He's
Look,
cocky. He's back, dude.
I'm
He's
back, dude. It
You're
took
all
not
the way
even
back.
less than a week, man, from Friday to Thursday, not even a week. Let's stick in the NFL. A couple of division round nuggies and some other coaching thoughts, including Freeman and what his future might look like. We'll dive into that next on The Fan.
80 a.m.
Couple thoughts at the fan text line I wanted to read. Some to do with the topic we're talking about, others not. This one blew my mind. Somebody said, you guys do realize Dylan Raiola,
Yeah.
has more career starts than Dante Moore.
That would track. Yeah.
Which I want to double check that because what game was the USC game where he got hurt this year?
I thought that was like their 7th or 8th game.
Yeah,
And
that
he started all
sounds
their games
right.
the year prior.
So that would have been 13 games last year because they went to a bowl game.
Yeah, plus like 6.
Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was game
There you go.
9. So
There you
yeah,
go.
touche. He does. So one more career start than Dante Moore. He's also 15 days older than him,
Very odd.
which is blowing my mind because Raiola's a sophomore and Dante Moore's technically a redshirt sophomore because he redshirted last year. But he's in his 3rd year of college, and Raiola. So I don't know if was Raiola like held back. Did they do like the start kindergarten when he
I
was
thought
6?
Dante reclassified.
Did he reclassify? Am I
and came
misremembering
out
that?
early.
That's what I said to
I
her.
thought he
think
was like 17 when he enrolled at UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, but you turned 21 as a. No, I guess this would be his 4th year in college.
This is his
wouldn't it?
4th, yeah, because he
Yeah.
redshirted.
Yeah.
No, it's his 3rd because he had the year at UCLA, the year behind.
Yeah, but next
Next year will be his
Yeah.
4th. But when you turn 21 when you're a junior in college, right? And he's turning
No.
21 in May. I turned 21
turned-
when I was a junior in college.
I turned 21
Well,
right
you were
before my
probably
senior year.
This is turning into we're going to be stupid here, aren't we? This
This
treading
blew my
in-
mind. I just read that text and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Next year wouldn't be, junior year on paper, but
On
it's
paper.
his 4th year of college,
Yes,
right?
his 4th year of college
Yeah.
would be next year.
Most people, their 4th year of college aren't redshirting. They're turning 22. 18 to 22.
Yeah, and next May, his
He'll-
4th year of college, he'll turn 22 because he turns 21 this May. He turns 21 in a couple of months.
Okay. Who's on first?
I don't know. I digress. That blew my mind.
He
Also,
did not reclassify, by the way.
this is why I'm
okay.
confused.
Who
Because I didn't remember him. Yeah, anyways, doesn't matter. But that just blew my mind. Another one, somebody had mentioned, you mentioned the title odds. Somebody said, I'm in Arizona listening right now, and DraftKings does have the 2027 title odds up.
Great. I can't find them online, so that helps a lot.
You want to guess where they are right now? If you want to call somebody in Arizona to make a bet for you, where their odds are.
I'm having a hard time coming up with how many teams are bringing back the amount of starters at these key positions. I'm going to say Ohio State and Texas, Oregon 3.
Okay, you were close, Swag.
I think Oregon's 2.
You think Oregon's 2?
and
Both
somewhere
close.
around plus 400.
Okay. Well, if you think plus 400 are the odds, I will give you good news if you'd like to gamble it. They are plus 800 right
Oh,
now to win
wow.
the
Jeez,
odds.
8 to 1.
And they are 4th. They're behind Ohio State's number 1.
Okay.
They're the favorite. I mean, Ohio State's just going to be a favorite every year. That's the way it works.
That's fine.
Indiana's the 2nd favorite.
Wow, okay. We'll
And
see
then-
where that goes if they lose, though.
And then Texas.
Okay.
And then Oregon is number
Ohio
4.
State, Texas being ahead shouldn't be shocking.
No.
But if you really are as excited about this as dirt, 8 to 1 is amazing value.
Yeah, if you think they got a legitimate shot to do it, you're getting good value right there. Marcus Freeman had some quotes yesterday that were interesting. I mean, he talked about the USC rivalry coming to an end and how they need to keep that up. And, you know, they didn't want to play it in week 0, and USC didn't want to play it late in the year. And it's dumb. It's a sign of all the things that are wrong with college football. But he basically had a quote of like, where do you see yourself in the future? And he gave an answer essentially that was, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. All I'm thinking about is what's in front of me right now.
He's
to
a
paraphrase.
2026 Irish forward guy. That's what he is. Because look, you can say Lanning, and I know you will.
Yeah.
In that sport, I
It's-
think it's almost an impossibility to pinpoint anybody and say with certainty, you know they'll be there in 5 years. The two best examples you might have, well, maybe 3 if you want to count Signetti in that, might be Mario and Lanning.
Yeah, to be surprised Mario going all the way out there like that's his alma mater.
I don't envision Mario leaving his alma mater.
He doesn't seem. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I don't. Are NFL teams sniffing around him? I guess he could be a Vrabel, rah guy. Kinda.
No, with him it wouldn't be NFL. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be a college lifer. Your guy's the only other guy in that sport. When we talk about the biggest of names, that I would say, like, if he wins a title at Oregon,
Sure, changes the narrative. Yeah,
and his kids are getting out of high school, or there's one kid left in a high school, I could see that playing out and going to the NFL. But I think there's maybe only 2 you would point to with certainty and say in 5 years those 2 guys are there.
Yeah, so the Steelers opening happened, and everybody said, "Oh, here come Marcus Freeman again." There's Marcus Freeman's music because the Giants member were sniffing around him, and then Harbaugh got fired, and now they're going to land John Harbaugh. His official quote yesterday at his press conference was, quote, "Maybe sometime in the future it's the right time, and I think it's what's right for me. Then maybe I'll pursue it, but I don't love wasting time thinking about the things that aren't right in front of me."
Well, Signetti's name also got brought up in
Yes, it
Pittsburgh.
did.
I don't know if there's any validity to him winning the title and then bolting for the Steelers.
Be pretty wild, dude.
It would be pretty crazy.
What a roller coaster ride for Indiana fans if they find their way to out of nowhere to a national championship in 2 years, and then the guy's like, "All right, riding off into the sunset. I'll see you later."
Did you see Freeman was involved in like a wrestling? Like the guy tried to file an assault charge on him.
Ended up being a total nothing burger, and
It was a
somebody
guy chirping at his kid and
His
wife,
kid.
and he probably was like, "Dude, shut up," and like walked away. And there was
The
nothing
university came out very quickly, and
Very
apparently
swiftly.
there's all sorts of video evidence, and this opposing wrestling coach is probably going
He
to
said they have like a,
All
there's a
the-
history
there's-
there. 'cause
no
his kid's a
charges,
wrestler.
there's
I'm
nothing
gonna
happened
guess
to it, yeah.
prosecutor sees this as
What kind of a human being are you to troll a kid who's wrestling in high school?
I don't know.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, you're right.
Welcome to America.
You're right.
And talking about the coaching retreads, I did enjoy somebody texting in Jason Garrett being a guy they'd want to go after. You know.
He interviewed with the Titans. Me and Fish talked about that. I said, "What do you think he just did in his interview?" Every answer.
Just
Hey,
clap.
what's the plan for the future?
Yeah. We're going to be excellent.
And a handful of people chiming in with Kevin Stefanski being a 2-time coach of the year, getting another opportunity.
He's the one I'm
I think
most
he's definitely
curious
gonna get a
about
gig. Yeah.
because I think the Browns are one of the most dysfunctional organizations,
There's
in
a
the
lot
NFL.
of Titans buzz with his name right now. He
There is.
reportedly loved Cam Ward in the draft process, but they were never going to be in a position to pick him.
He's still got
No.
the defense to, despite all the nonsense with the offense and the quarterbacks and all that stuff, that defense showed up every game.
So he's the name listeners so far, like
That's
Stefanski
the main
might
one
be
that's
the
getting
name.
chimed in is Like
So-
if your team was in the
I'm-
running of needing a head coach, would get you
I'm
the
doing
most
the most
excited.
diligence on him first.
That's your choice then. So if I'm
I don't know if
you're
it's my
Baltimore-
choice.
You're Baltimore and you got Stefanski or Flores. You're going Stefanski?
I think the difficult part with that is, to the point you made in the last segment, is that you almost have to go case by case on what.
I know it's in,
Like that's the difficulty. Like if I'm Baltimore.
They got to put their defense back together.
Right, like I have an
first.
MVP candidate at quarterback. He's got to stay healthy. Big if, but this year didn't go great. You got to be healthy and
Well,
available.
Nick Wright says this is the end for him.
Of course, it's all over. He'll never win. So like you got that kind of figured out though. It's their issue has been defense.
Most of this season, it was
Most
their
of this
defense,
season
yeah.
and the things that have
And
derailed them.
then Lamar got hurt and their offense sucked,
Right.
and then their defense started playing better.
Double
They
whammy.
switched.
They did. They flip flopped.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're going, if he goes Tennessee, I can understand why, right? Like he liked the process of Cam Ward in the draft, so he feels like he has that. You have Simmons on the defensive line. Io Manor popped up for them as a good target. Like,
yes, he did.
Maybe that's a situation. I hate that ownership group. I think it's one of the worst in the sport, and they've proved that the last couple of years. But you get to live in Nashville and coach a guy that you really liked in the draft.
Not a bad life right there.
Not a bad
life.
choice.
Let's continue talking about this with our good friend Mike Silver. He's had some great stories over the years. He was in Pittsburgh for the final game of the Tomlin era. What does he make of the coaching situation, the LaFleur versus Ben Johnson beef that's going on, the divisional round of the playoffs? Mike Silver will join us coming up next, but first, your Swag with Sports Center.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the NFL coaching dominoes about to topple in the opposite direction. The New York Giants appear to be close to finalizing a deal to bring John Harbaugh on as their next head coach. That according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Oregon Ducks glad to welcome quarterback Dante Moore back for his senior season, announcing he will not enter the NFL draft on Wednesday, despite being a projected top 5 pick. Blazers back home at Moda Center to host the Atlanta Hawks and their new acquisition, C.J. McCollum. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant questionable, a game-time decision. Denny Avdia upgraded to doubtful. Hawks are 4.5-point favorites. First PGA Tour event of 2026 set to tee off just outside Honolulu. Round 1 of the Sony Open. 20 of the top 50 players in the world are in the field. Coverage starts on ESPN Plus at 9 a.m. and Golf Channel will take over at 4. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football. The Fan Some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, Daily Ticker time on a Thursday. Excited for this one, man. Whenever we get a chance to talk to him, we get fired up. Michael Silver, his book, The Why is Everything, available everywhere. He's a columnist, national columnist for The Athletic. At Mike Silver on Twitter. He's given us some of the best stories we've ever had on our show in the years past about NFL circles and coaching candidates and all that stuff. So, Michael Silver, good morning to you. Thanks for the time, as always, in Portland. The big news of the day is John Harbaugh. Now we got to, as we've been joking all day, you got to dot the I's and cross the T's, so maybe we're on the 1 yard line trying to get over. I'm just curious what you make of that move. Seems like a match made in heaven. How do you feel about John Harbaugh likely heading to the Giants as their next head coach?
I mean, I'm happy for the Giants that after like 6 consecutive hires that seem to work out about the same, like, hey, we think this promising coordinator is going to do pretty well. Oh, wait, it's not going great. Let's do the same thing. So, like, they broke that mold, which is cool because it was a very competitive situation for John Harbaugh based on his body of work. A lot of people wanted him, and it's a good get for them. This is the franchise that brought you Joe Judge, taking the with the quarterback sneak on 3rd and 18. Like, please fire me. So it's interesting to me that John Harbaugh was so intent on going there that he narrowed the field pretty quickly, and then. It's not like they didn't let him leave the building, but it was close. He left the building. He was going to meet with the Titans, and then it got done.
You're all over it as usual. Great stuff. Being in Pittsburgh, I got a 2-parter for you. One, could you set the scene for us of just what that feeling and that atmosphere was kind of like, knowing the game was over, they were going to lose to the Texans, Tomlin ends up hanging them up like the next day, and then at the press conference, did you tell Mike he had a great career, that he's a great coach, that the team should be proud?
Hold your head high, Mike.
Hold your head high.
I think the key is to tell him like 6 times in a row, though. See, I'm not a big grandstander. It's funny. So all those years, even before, but all those years at Sports Illustrated where, our stuff didn't come out till Wednesday. So in my mind, I would never use a group quote, or only if desperate, right? Everything I had, I wanted to feel fresh, because back then everybody had read everything by the time your stuff came out, and it had to feel special. So my philosophy in those settings has always been like, if it was something I really care about asking, I would never ask it there. But I certainly, I could be accused of a lot of self-serving, egomaniacal things, but grandstanding at press conferences is not usually one of them. So that's the first weird thing. And then the second weird thing is like, it's okay that outsiders don't understand our job, and that we're not rooting for people, or we're not rooting for teams like fans, and that we're in a professional setting. But it seemed to set off a lot of people who don't understand our job to enable them to be like, this is why everyone hates you. Okay. But you know what? There are a lot of reasons why people hate me. Let's start with the fact that I go to the Super Bowl every single year, and your team doesn't. You should hate me for that.
That'd be the number one for
That's
Michael
number
Silver.
one, man. Yeah, what the hell, dude? Why can't I get there? He's there every year. Michael Silver is our guest. At Mike Silver on Twitter. Go give him a follow. National columnist for The Athletic. Check out his latest book, The Why is Everything. Last time we had you on, you told us a great story about the Rams getting Matthew Stafford, and if I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of like all those coaches are in Cancun at the same time, finding out that Stafford's going to go be with McVay in L.A.
Cabo.
Right, in Cabo, that's what it was, right? And so I'm curious to ask you on this front, not in this, kind of pivoting, but I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, there's a lot of coaching circles that are kind of like high school cliquish, that you come from a tree, you have good relationships, you get along with guys. LaFleur and McVay in a bit of a similar tree situation here, if I'm not wrong. And now we got a new beef that is like taking a new turn in the NFL. Rivalry is back in Green Bay and Chicago. Ben Johnson and LaFleur, the quick handshake, the comments in the locker room after the game, F them, I effing hate them. And now we get a McVay versus Ben Johnson game. So I'm curious the carryover there and then what you make of that. I love rivalries. I think it's great for the league and what that's going to mean in the NFC North in the years to come.
Well, a lot of these rivalries in real life are just, circumstantial, and coaches, go around and players go around. So I think fans tend to take it more seriously than the actual participants most of the time. But you're right. In this case, it seems to have spilled over. And McVay and Matt LaFleur are really close. They, coached together in Washington way back when. They've coached together in LA. They've stayed very close. Not everyone, not all the protagonists of my book are tight like that. There's a chapter called Enemy Friends about Kyle and Sean. That's a quote from Raheem Morris, and we put enemy first for a reason. But Sean and Matt really are friends, and Ben and Matt really aren't. And yeah, Ben did come from outside that group, but Ben fired the first shot, and it was a weird one. Like, I assumed when he did it that it was ball busting, that they had some history, but no, they really didn't. So Ben Johnson gets hired as the coach of the Bears, and he has kind of this awkward first press conference. And I think, I haven't really talked to Ben about it, but I think he maybe was trying to lean into the rivalry thing as a crowd pleaser, kind of like Liam Cohen did the Duval, which, they both won, so we can't say anything, and I love Liam. But, Ben dropped in that I loved beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. So, first of all, Matt LaFleur was like, wait, what? Why are you coming after me? Second, dude, you were the offensive coordinator. You don't really get to say you beat a coach. Dan Campbell beat him. So that was kind of weird. So, I know Matt was like, I want to play that guy week one. Let's get after it. Really loved beating him the first time. Blew the game the second time with the onside kick, which is crazy. And then now you have a brutal blown lead, the worst playoff blown lead situation since the Chargers Jaguars. And so he's not miserable. And then you have video of Ben Johnson in the locker room being like, blame the Packers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's going to be a dude on the Packers next year who came from the Bears. It's our league's just kind of not like that. And I don't know. It's I don't know why that is a thing. It's cool because it makes it spicier, but I wish I could tell you it was often like that, but it usually is.
Let's go to the storytelling narrative takeaway for you. You're always looking for a great story, right? You want it handed to you so you can write about. When I look at the remaining 8 teams, I asked my co-host this earlier, we're always going to, as diehard football fans, we're going to be able to pinpoint and say, 2025, 26 champion. We'll name it, right, in a trivia. But some are more memorable than the others. Who is the team for you, if they win the Super Bowl, they're the most memorable of the remaining 8 if they win the Super Bowl?
Well, a lot of times stories come to me, and I'm kind of known for that in my family and friend circle. If I go to a game, oh, my God, something's going to happen. Or I do have exceptional good fortune that way over the years. So I'll just kind of take you through my process, because I'm always trying to figure it out every week, right? And week one, I went to Philly kind of on a little bit of a hunch because on paper the 49ers really had no business. But I thought, if the Eagles lose, that is monumental. It turns out Bob Weir passed away Saturday. And, very heavy thing for me, certainly, and really especially for San Francisco and the region. And I was feeling some heavy energy on Sunday, and I hope people get a chance to read what I wrote off that game because organically there's a lot of Bob Weir in the story. I would have tried to wedge it in anyway, but some of those guys on that team, including Kittle and McCaffrey and Juszczyk, got to know him after going to a show in Vegas last May. So there was a lot of San Francisco vibe and emotion. So that worked out. I was definitely going to go see Aaron because it could have been his last game, and it may have been, and the Tomlin thing. So this week I will be in Denver because Josh Allen, to me, is the most compelling thing this week, and that may extend, right? He is a guy who seemingly has to be Superman for that specific team this year to compete against the big boys. But he does that a lot. And I could see a scenario where Josh Allen does superhuman things and they still don't win because Denver's good, and I'm not sure how good the Bills are outside of that. So the notion of him trying to do that in a year where Mahomes is not in, Lamar's out, it seems to be more wide open for him than in past years that way, to me, resonates the most right now. It is sometimes you can win the Super Bowl when it's not your best team of that run. Like I would look at the Colts in 2006, who won the Super Bowl, probably wasn't the best Colts team. If you break it down, they lost to the Patriots a couple of times. They lost that one to the Steelers that knocked them out. But it just, it kind of opened up that year. So that may be something you could look at with the Bills if Josh can do it 3 more times, but that's a huge if. But, he's the one quarterback now with Aaron out in the AFC where you're like, oh, he could put teams on his back. And really, Stafford and Purdy have been to the Super Bowl. Stafford's won it in the NFC. Obviously, Darnold and Caleb are much bigger question marks. So it's more, in the quarterback side of things, it's more raw than usual in the Final 8.
We love talking NFL with you and getting the anecdotes and the stories and looking ahead to the weekend. Let's ask one from Michael Silver.
Oh,
you're a Cal grad. How are we feeling about the Tosh Lapoy era? He's from our neck of the woods, D.C. under Lanning and Oregon. Where's the enthusiasm right now?
Well, he's from my neck of the woods
It's
because
true.
he's an East Bay guy and he's a Bear. So I'll remind people that he's just home. But yeah, here's the deal: you don't have enough time on this segment or really on this show for me to express my excitement about Tosh coming back and crushing the portal, and that would have happened. That would have happened with the incoming freshman class too if we had hired him a little earlier. But I just want people to sit back and watch the empire building, just relentless, vicious run of amazing excellence that is about to happen at the greatest academic institution ever on God's earth. And so, we're really pumped. I've known Tosh for a long, long time. He is a Bear. He's always been a Bear. There were some people here that tried to, skew that when he left because they were sad about how it happened. That he has always loved his alma mater. It's his dream job. And we have a great chancellor in Rich Lyons, and we have Ron Rivera there as a GM. The structure, the way it's set up, we've never had a chance like this to really build something lasting. So, to bring it back to Bobby and the Dead's last studio album, Built to Last, that's kind of what we are going for here, and I think we got a chance.
I love it, man. It's going to be fun to watch him, see what he does down there. Can't wait for the football this weekend. We always enjoy the time. Go check out his book, The Why Is Everything, his latest book. He's a national columnist for The Athletic. He'll be in Denver for the Bills and the Broncos this weekend, at Mike Silver on Twitter. Michael Silver, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for the time this morning, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Talk to you.
There you go. Michael Silver of The Athletic.
He chose your team.
He did.
Most interesting thing for him is Josh Allen going to be Hercules? Is he going to carry that team and beat Denver and win his first Super Bowl?
I'm going to blow you away with a stat that I just saw.
Okay.
I was perusing, and I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, my God, that makes this even more depressing. But maybe it doesn't have to be depressing. So we'll talk about that on the other side. The Magic Hats at the top of the hour. Brady Henderson at 9:30. We still got a ton to get to, and we are back after this on The Fan.
Big hits, big bets, big plays.
Today I'm laying the big wood.
This is the Layin' Wood Report, brought to you by Mr. Plywood, serving Portland for over 50 years.
It's a 13-1 run for the Razorbacks, and the Hawks just turned them over again. Wagner out of there with it. Ahead to Acuff. Darius in the corner. Malik Thomas drains a three-pointer. It's a 16-1 run, and Lamont Paris has got to call a timeout.
Yeah, there's Arkansas Radio Network, 34-point win, tied for the 6th largest in an SEC game in school history, and the team's 108 points as they beat South Carolina yesterday, equaled its 6th most in an SEC game.
Hey, here comes Calipari all of a sudden, right? Lighting up the lamp. I actually watched a little college hoops last night.
So did I.
You had the Michigan-Washington game was interesting, and then Arizona was on the ropes for a while against ASU. Their undefeated season was on the line. Look at college basketball dirt.
Arkansas laying the wood. Wood Report brought to you by Mr. Plywood, serving Portland for over 50 years. Delivery, custom cutting, and special orders. You can visit them at Southeast Stark Street location or online at mrplywoodinc.com.
Well, we were talking about the most interesting storylines left. There's a rooting interest, growing up a 49er fan and the rivalry. Like Niners and Seahawks, I'm excited for. It's also a 7-point spread. I just saw the game, so it's like I'm hoping it's competitive. Niners shocking the rule would be really funny, but it's not something that I'm expecting. The game I'm most excited for this weekend is probably Bills and Broncos for the angle that we're talking about of Josh Allen.
Superman.
Can he do it? And his receivers are down, and the Broncos are great defensively, and it's Bo on the other side. Like, Bo could be in an AFC title game in the second year of his career. So there's a lot of great storylines and juicy matchups in that game. I just saw this come across the wire. This is the NFL on CBS. This is both encouraging but simultaneously really depressing.
Is it going to be something like when a team only has one competent player, they tend to get absolutely railroaded in this round?
It is not that.
Okay.
It is that there are only 4 teams in the history of the NFL. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. 4, or I guess it'd be organizations because every team's a different team. But you get my point.
Yeah.
4 organizations in the history of the NFL that have won a playoff game in 6 consecutive years. 6 consecutive years they've won a playoff game.
Okay.
I'm guessing you can figure out who the answers are, so I'll answer them for you. New England won a playoff game from 2011 to 2018.
Yep.
In that span, how many Super Bowls did they win?
3.
Kansas City Chiefs, 2018 to 2024.
They won 3.
3.
They won 3.
Mm-hmm.
Not obviously going to win when the streak will come to an end this year.
Cowboys?
Dallas Cowboys, 1991 to 1997 or 6, whatever. How many did they win in that span?
3.
The only other team in the history of the NFL to win a playoff game in 6 consecutive years.
The Bills?
Is the Buffalo Bills from 2020 to this year.
Well,
because they just won a playoff game, marking the 6th consecutive year that they've won a playoff game.
0.
Maybe they break the record and then start their journey to 3 this year.
It could be.
That could be the alternative.
Very well
step,
could. The Pats have the longest streak technically at whatever 7 or 8, whatever you add that up. So they very well could break the record. So it's just one of those, like, it shows you how consistently good they've been and how good Allen's been, and they're making waves every year, but one of these is not like the other.
I think I'm excited for that game, and it's certainly, I understand the reasons it's number 1 for everybody. I think I have flipped my number 1. My number 1 is Bears-Rams.
Is it Bears-Rams?
Yeah.
Is it the weather, the coaching angle? Because those guys, like, I asked Silver about that, and it's like, dude, I think LaFleur and Ben Johnson literally hate each other. And that doesn't happen very often in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't think LaFleur cared about Ben Johnson until Ben Johnson was like, I hate him and I hate the Packers.
It was all started by Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
And then Ben Johnson, to his credit, look, you're going to run your mouth. You better back it up. He backed it up.
Well, that's the thing about Ben Johnson is, like, that's going to ultimately, it may bite him, right? They lost earlier to Green Bay, and people are like, oh, look at you.
Yeah.
But also, did you see the locker room?
They loved it.
What organization has been kind of dormant for a long time?
Basically my entire life.
And him coming in there saying, F the Packers.
Yeah,
they've
dude.
adopted the mentality and the toughness. So maybe
Screw
he
these
did more
guys.
for the locker room than he did caring about Matt LaFleur. I think there's a real window here where if he beats the Rams, one, you took down Stafford and McVay. You've had this crazy comeback season. You're the cardiac Bears.
Year 2 quarterback.
The Bears in the NFC title game. I got laughed and made fun of for picking them to win the division. If I also would have said they're in the NFC title game,
I would have laughed even harder at you.
it would have been the stupidest take preseason.
Right.
I think for that, and the weather aspect. I know Stafford and the Rams can win in the cold, but it is going to be 20-mile-an-hour winds, 18 degrees, a 5-degree wind chill factor.
Snow? You give me some snow?
You might have some flurries here and there. The kicking's already hard enough in Chicago.
Yes, it is.
And the Rams are kind of stupid. They're good. They're really good. They're also kind of stupid. So Allen, the Broncos, and there's all that. I think my favorite, most exciting game outside of fandom is Rams-Bears.
Yeah, we could do some poll questions on that. What is the most exciting game going into the weekend? Which one are you most excited for? We'll talk more about that, obviously, tomorrow. And coming up at the bottom of the hour at 9:30, because Brady Henderson will join us of ESPN to preview the Seahawks side of the Seahawks 49ers game. Let's start the final hour, though, with the Magic Hat. What's in it today? We'll find out next on The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by 808 Hawaiian Restaurant. Mixed plates like Grandma used to make. If your grandma were from the Big Island, Woodstock, Burnside, Beaverton, or online at ate-oh-ate.com. First on the Fan. The first hire of the NFL offseason appears to be wrapping up in New York this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Giants set to sign John Harbaugh as their next head coach, barring anything getting screwed up with the lawyers working through the final contract numbers. Doc's happy to welcome quarterback Dante Moore back for his senior season. He announced on Wednesday he's not entering the NFL draft despite being a projected top 5 pick. Blazers back on the Moda Center court tonight as they welcome in a former guard, C.J. McCollum, and his new team, the Atlanta Hawks. 7 o'clock tip on KUNP Xfinity Channel 1016. Jeremy Grant questionable and a game-time decision. Hawks are 4.5-point favorites. College hoops on 910 ESPN Portland this evening. The Oregon women visiting Iowa. 6 p.m. tip. Our pregame coverage will start at 5:30. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of prime time with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, let's get to the Magic Hat. It's the Magic Hat.
Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for.
Bring it on. Basically, a bunch of topics, and we have no idea where the sports gods want us to go.
Okay.
Until Swag pulls it out of his Magic Hat.
Hocus pocus, where are you?
Now you see me. Now you don't.
It's magic.
It's simply what it is. It's magic. We don't know what's going to come out of this hat.
Where is that rabbit?
Abracadabra, MFers. Let's do the Magic Hat.
The only thing this hat's good for is the trash can.
Hey, let's do this final hour. Dirt and Sprague here, Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 FM, The Fan, 1080 AM. Live on YouTube, the Odyssey app. Good morning, everybody. Hope your Thursdays are off to a great start. We got Brady Henderson coming up bottom of the hour. We'll talk some Seahawks 49ers from the Seattle angle with him.
Oh. I am pumped for this.
At 9:30. Check that again, 9:30. 29 minutes from now. But it is time for the Magic Hat. And we had an actual Magic Hat. If you missed it last week, it's beautiful. It's a Tim Monas edition on top of the... This is the Magic Hat brought to you by Tim Monas. Shout out to our buddy who has put this entire thing essentially together.
Yes.
What do we got in the Magic Hat today,
Your
Swigard?
first one, new commentator.
Oh, new commentator. This is a leftover Magic Hat submission.
Wow, good job by you. Usually I have leftovers and I forget what it was hinting at because I try to be coy with it.
You try to. I know. There's creativity here. The help is that there's audio involved with it, so that makes it a little bit easier to remember because we had the audio and then we didn't end up playing it last week.
Is this the guy who should be the new number 2 lead for the Peacock basketball
I'm asking,
game,
do we need more of this? Now, this is kind of a tired bit because it's happened a number of times in different iterations or sports, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we tired of it? Is this a funny spin? I will ask that question and let you observe. This comes to you a little over a week ago, and speak of which, it was on the Peacock. And it was the game, I can't remember the circumstances. Steve Kerr got ejected, and then he said his mom was really upset with him. It's a little over a week ago.
Yeah.
And on that game, they happened to have Snoop Dogg calling the game for whatever reason. And here's how it sounded.
Oh, look at Steve Kerr. He's all the way out here. Uh-oh, Steve, don't get thrown out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Back him up. Back him up, GP. Back him up. Steve ready to fire on him.
He's already gone.
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood. Get him, Steve. You in Inglewood, Steve. The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at him.
So we've done this with hockey, I feel like. We've done this with the Olympics, I feel like. Didn't he?
I think
Kevin
he's
Hart
back with the Winter Olympics.
So that's why he was
Snoop
on the
Dogg,
Peacock?
I think he's warming up.
Leslie Jones also did the Olympics.
She did.
I think she did the Summer Olympics.
Okay, so do we want more Snoop Dogg commentating in our lives? Is it still funny, or do we not find it funny anymore?
Oh, I mean, there's some funny parts of what he's saying, right? The Wildcat coming out in him right now, banging for Inglewood.
Because the game was it was a Clipper. They were playing the Clippers.
I think with him, less is more.
Less is more with Snoop?
If he drops in every once in a while to, you're talking about Tuesday night random whatever game, spice it up a little bit.
He's the new Bill Walton.
Once we get to the playoffs, it's like, okay, we're focused on
tighten it up a little bit,
winning and those sorts of things.
I'm not mad at it running it back. Kevin Hart's probably going to be on another broadcast at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it, but Swag's right. Like, I think if you give me little doses here and there,
then it's funny.
Like the Blazer Warrior game on Tuesday this week.
Yes.
I somehow hit like a button for Swag of this is outrageous.
You were very offensive to him. What was it, Terry Gannon and Jamal Crawford? Was that the duo? Yeah.
The
You're not
lead
a Terry Gannon guy?
He has no excitement for the. He looks like somebody being forced to do something he doesn't want to do.
He's been calling golf for a long time.
I get it, but like the microphone is here. I'm Terry Gannon. I'm with Peacock Network today. Jamal Crawford, we're live here at Golden State. Jamal Crawford's giving me something. At least he's next to the microphone.
That's Jay Crossover right there.
Just like, come on, man.
Blazer legend.
Give me somebody with energy.
Yeah, I'm with you. You got to have energy. Snoop's got to have energy, but I agree with the take. Less is more.
Yeah, I could see.
Little
if
doses.
he was on like all the time, I think it would
enough
get worn out.
It's like if you had hear Bill Walton call 5 games a week.
I think Snoop Dogg is smart enough to recognize that too.
Okay.
Is there anybody in entertainment we haven't heard on a game that you'd like to see them dabble in this?
Who would be funny? The only ones that I would like to see do it more are like stand-up comedians. But that's like you do it from time to time. Like a comedian will go sit in a baseball booth for an inning, and you laugh. Like Bill Burr will do that at time to time at Fenway, and he'll hang out for 2 innings. Like, give me one of those. I'm all for it. Not for an entire game, though, I don't think.
Yeah, and a whole game is a bit much. But like McConaughey.
Yeah, McConaughey wouldn't be terrible.
We need to know who the ball knowers and sports fans are, because like the president of the United States clearly showed he knows nothing about football.
Knows nothing about
like
football.
Not a thing, not a name, not anything.
Nada.
But you get Snoop Dogg, and he knows everybody.
He is the Snoop Youth Football League.
So we know who's watching sports and who's not watching sports.
Actually, the guy I'd like to hear on a basketball game to be fun is former President Obama, because he does know ball.
Yeah, he watches a lot of ball, plays a lot of ball.
Well, and also like Macaulay Culkin is married to Brenda Song, who was famous for being a childhood actor, and she's got some parts here and there. She's a diehard Rams fan.
Yeah.
So, like, bringing her in for half a quarter, would she give you some ball knowledge?
I think she would. She'd bring a little bit of heat.
She's a diehard.
Yeah.
Talks about the depth chart all the time of that team.
Who's your number 2 tight end? I got to know the answer to that question.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I'm with you there. What else we got?
Oh, this is me. 1 point for a million.
1 point for a million.
I'm pretty sure you guys didn't see this. So one of my favorite sporting events starts this week in the Australian Open. Yes, I'm weird. We've all established that. So last year, before the U.S. Open tennis tournament, they wanted some higher profile players playing in the mixed doubles, and they did it on the 3 or 4 days before the main draw started, and they got Coco Gauff and Alcaraz and Naomi Osaka and some others to play in it, and it was a huge draw.
So it's mixed doubles.
It was mixed doubles. Okay. So the Australian Open is like, okay, what could we do? So this happened, they showed it yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago with the time difference. So it's called the 1 point slam. And so it was a mix of all of the top players combined with some former great legend players, some personalities, TV musicians, and then with all of the tennis clubs around Australia, they had local tournaments for amateurs to win a spot. And it was 1 point. So you were out on center court in Australia, this big tournament, 1 point, and then the winner got $1 million, and some amateur player.
No way.
Yeah, went through. And so the only difference was the amateurs and the celebrities got 2 chances to get a serve in. The pros only got 1.
Okay.
And so they're going through this rapid fire. So
right,
like
you go and
Sinner, Alcaraz, Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, all of them were in it. And this guy that won his local tennis club in amateurs, like 36 years old, won $1 million.
Won a point.
Won a point.
Who did he win the point against?
Do you
remember
he
who it
actually
was?
won it against a woman who was like ranked 120th. She was a qualifier.
Okay.
But he beat Sinner, so Sinner served it into the net when he played Sinner.
So he won it on like kind of a technicality.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't matter. $1 million bucks, $1 million bucks,
but
dude.
the pros were all out there. Everybody, it was kind of a party atmosphere.
That's a good idea.
I think if you wanted to draw a little bit more attention, I think if we bring it over to America, I don't know what's going to get more people interested in tennis. if you did this with golf, so if you had a PGA tournament coming to your city and all of the local golf clubs had a tournament before to play one hole.
Yeah.
So you do this like on Tuesday.
Sure, the week of the tournament.
And all of
Can
a
you
sudden,
beat a guy on one hole?
plus
or a
you have
gal
some
on one hole?
celebrities out there that are involved promoting it, that sort of thing, and you played like the signature hole on that course.
You just hit your tee shot out of bounds. You just put your club back in your bag and say, all right, well, this one's over.
It reminds me at the Ryder Cup a couple of years ago when JT brought out the random fan.
Yeah. Justin Rose, I think it was.
Justin Rose, and he sunk.
The American fan was talking trash about them missing a putt. He was like, then you come make the damn putt.
He made it.
And he walked out in front of the crowd and drained the putt and then pumped the crowd
So
up.
yeah, you do it on a hole. Maybe you do it on a short par 4 or a reasonable par 3. Maybe the only difference is the amateur can go from the regular tees and the pros back from the championship tees, but you play out the hole, not just a long drive or closest to the pin, that sort of thing, but actually play out the hole.
Beat them on a hole.
That's probably the most doable one because my only like other option would be I'd love to see a regular Joe at the plate against a Skeens. One at bat.
One at bat.
I don't
and if
think
you make
that,
contact with the ball in any way, like
any sort of contact,
any contact, you get the money.
You wouldn't. Most people wouldn't even see it, but
Yeah.
I think you involve the local golf community, and then this was to raise money for Tennis Australia to go back into the program.
That's
so
huge.
you would
It's a
do
great
it
idea.
for your local, the OGA or the Oregon chapter of the PGA to funnel back into programs for youth or whatever.
Here's the other thing too. I've not followed up on this, but we had Orem on going into the Peach Bowl, and he said something, and I wanted to react to it, but we were against it. And I've heard all of us have probably said this in some way. The idea that when we go, oh, I could get 3 yards. Like, okay, Bill Orem, put pads on.
Yeah, I
want
wanna
to
see it
put
in
you in the
practice.
backfield.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a good offensive line, and I want to see if you really can get 3 yards. You can't. You would get annihilated, even with good blocking.
How's my line, man? Maybe they're getting a little bit of
No,
push.
I could give you a good line. Nobody here could get 3 yards.
I'm too
I
small.
love
They
that
couldn't
we
see me behind the line of scrimmage. I don't know where I'm at. Tiny.
They'll see you. If they know your goal is to get 3 yards, they'll see you.
Got to hit them with a play action first. Got to loosen them up a little bit. You got to throw it a run. Come on, man. Help me out
if they
here.
replay this or you go online and see snippets,
I'll check it out.
It was actually, so it was 1 point. Here you go. They
Here's
move
your
it
chance,
along,
and next, all right.
And then, and it was just all this combination. And then the fact that you got this up-and-coming women's professional who lost in the qualifiers. She's ranked like 120th in the world. And then this 36-year-old amateur guy, I think he was like taught at the club or something like that.
What a moment. You're going to remember that for the rest of your life.
At center court there at the Australian Open.
Swag bowling one time against a pro bowler. Could
There you
he
go.
match a strike or get a strike and the guy gets
That's
fair?
a doable. Well, those ones
There
are
you go.
doable because you can get, and golf is conceivable because if you have a good enough local player that would qualify
That's
to
what I
do
think.
it,
If you get
like you could birdie a hole against a par and win one. You're not going to win 18 holes, but you can win a hole.
You can win a hole.
Michael Block existed.
Exactly.
That was a real thing.
He just got a new endorsement deal. That guy hasn't gone away.
Why do you hate that guy? I
Yeah.
don't get it. Nothing bad has come out about him.
Yeah, that we know of yet.
Are you just jealous?
Incredibly.
He got a hole-in-one with Rory McIlroy as his
Do we
playing
need
partner.
to interrupt the hat here for a moment?
Why? What happened?
We got breaking news.
Somebody get hired or
the
fired?
Ducks have officially announced their coordinators. It's Hampton and Maringer.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So it's official.
the in-house
okay.
guys.
In-house guys. I mean, that was expected, but good to know nonetheless. I was going to say, what was I going to say? Oh, speaking of the tennis thing, by the way, quickly, there was a gal. I don't know if you guys saw the video of this. There was a viral video, and I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was in Kenya. But it was like somehow a 21-year-old unranked player got into qualifying for a tournament against a really good player.
Oh, yeah.
And you could go find the video of it, and it is the funniest thing you've ever seen.
She just gets annihilated.
Like, it's like picture the losing a fantasy football bet and showing up to, like, remember the guy who had to qualify for the U.S. Open or whatever it was and shot like 146. He's never played golf before. I don't know. I'll have to dive in and see. Maybe a listener knows the reasoning behind how she got in or how this all made sense. It was like it looked like me out there playing tennis, and it was like a sanctioned, like qualifying tennis match, and everybody's like, "What is happening?"
Did
right
it look
now?
like the gal from Australia in breakdancing?
Yes, yes. I think the thing with Australia, maybe it was Australia. There was a video I was watching the other day, and I'm like, I don't know what tournament this is for.
That was the good thing about how they set this up. Even the celebrities they had out there, you knew they played tennis at a club, like they at least played, recreationally. and all of the
they all knew what they
amateurs-
were doing.
Yeah, they all knew what they were doing.
So here's this one. It's a 21-year-old who is obviously unranked, received a last-minute wildcard entry into the main draw of a professional event hosted by Tennis Kenya. And in her match against the German, some good player from Germany, I guess, she lost, and you guys can tell me how bad this is, 6-0, 6-0 in 37 minutes.
Oh, that's quick.
She may not have even registered a point.
It says that she registered a total of 3 points.
Yeah, that's
Were they on,
embarrassing.
like,
I don't know.
bad serves? Because I don't know
She
how
had
she
20
returned
double
anything.
faults. Is that bad? I'm assuming that's bad.
Yeah. Well, the question would be, if the pro double faulted on her serve and gave her points that way?
Yeah, could have been that her only points.
That's probably the only way.
Go watch it. You can find this. Like, look at Tennis Kenya. Search the video. It's one of the funniest things you've ever seen. Let's get to more Magic Hat on the other side. Breaking news, just if you're wondering, Ducks have officially promoted from within both their coordinators, as we expected them to. Hampton as the DC and Maringer as the offensive coordinator. More Magic Hat, and then Brady Henderson, bottom of the hour, back after this on the Fan. Now you don't.
It's
The only thing this hat's good for is the trash can.
All right, Brady Henderson coming up bottom of the hour. Welcome back in, everybody. We're in the middle of the Magic Hat. It's a glorious 30 minutes of radio. I look forward to it every week. What else we got, Swag?
Tennis overtook it.
It did. I didn't see that coming.
And you're the one that added to it.
I love Swag, by the way, with his note to begin that of, I don't think either of you saw this. Like, you know I didn't see that. Which is great. That was an informative segment. It was perfect.
Sometimes you go, down a wormhole or video.
Not a lot of
shows
tennis
up.
wormholes I'm going down.
Hey, cousin.
Yeah, this is me. I actually want to follow up on something I joked with Josh Pate about. So there's a front office story out today that ESPN has fallen in love with college football. And you could say, well, they already have because the SEC network and the money they pay for the rights. Yeah, and I'd counter and say they barely talk about the sport.
Yeah, they've been broadcasting college football our entire lives, and, the discussion around it hasn't been there.
Well, there's a funny quote in here from the executive vice president. It's basically like, college football's kind of popular. I think we're going to start doing it more. And I'm like, we've been screaming about this for a decade. It's the second most popular sport in America right now.
Yeah, it's not even really close.
And so basically the story is about ESPN wants more Pate. Josh Pate has made quite the impression. Him, Lewan, and Compton are going to become regular staples. I'm sure there's going to be a show formulated at some point. Either their locker room show will become a show or something, right? There's a line in here, and I want to know how you guys feel. There's a line in here, and it says, industry sources believe Pate is ultimately prime to make millions of dollars per year. And I just don't know how I'd react if somebody wrote a story about this, about me, because you would start getting texts.
All the time.
Hey, cousin.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey.
Long time no talk. How you been, man?
And one listener's like, I wouldn't care if I made the money. I'm like, it's so easy to say you wouldn't care until you start getting those phone calls, those text messages.
Right.
You go to dinner. He's going to go to a family reunion, he said, before the Natty, and somewhere in Alabama. You think he's going to like a 150-person dinner and not being expected to pick up the entire tab?
Right.
And you could be a person that says, yeah, I make millions a year. I gladly pick up the tab. That's how I'd feel.
Sure, I'd love to help out.
But there's never a circumstance where you're not the one expected to just pay for the whole, all the stuff.
It's a big burden that you're going to carry around at every family gathering for the next.
This is how you answer the question, though, from the article, and somebody writes, it's like, no, they're talking about the cost of the show. That's to cover all the production and all the employees. That's not my individual
I'm not taking
salary.
that home. Come on.
But they're still going to think you're making close to.
He's going to be very well compensated for many years to come. He's great at what he does, and it was a really funny read. I saw it yesterday. I just started laughing. One, because I knew we were going to have him on today, but two, we used to have our old boss, Jeff Sacramento. We used to have, I can't tell you how many conversations about ESPN and the topics that they would talk about and their national radio lineup and the things that they would focus, Yankees and Red Sox, which is only relevant to one small pocket of the country, but that's all that they would focus on.
That was where the pocket was made.
But that's where the pocket was, the decision makers were in the pocket.
Yep.
And we used to always, I just laugh reading that quote because we used to say to each other, why don't they focus, why are there no first take segments on college football? Why are we not doing this on why are we talking about all these random things when college football is not even debatable as the second most popular sport in America? My team got publicly humiliated on Friday night. Mm-hmm. They lost by 40. That game was over, 5 minutes to go in the second quarter? The thing was over pretty damn quick.
Yep.
You know how many people watched that game? 20 million. 20, and that's down slightly from last year because they were down by 40. 20 million people watched that game,
which is basically the World Series.
Yes, it's an insane number, and so it's a massive sport. Good for Pate though. He's Maybe I'll send him a text too. Hey, cousin. Hey, cousin. What's going on, man? Need a house project done.
I'm under contract.
I did not pull the audio with this. I just wanted to briefly update. You know me. We talked about it earlier. Thanks to the Mailsack audience, they gave us a great Brooks Koepka question to be able to talk about Brooks coming back to the PGA Tour. Now, my guy Tiger turned 50 last night. You see him looking all swank and swagger, hanging out with the Trumpies.
First of all, saw the jacket for his Tiger Golf League commercial thing. Jacket looks awesome. There's no way I'm ever going to afford that jacket because his line is ridiculously expensive.
Yes, it is.
Are we going to have a conversation about he's starting to look a little... His face is changing.
It's not moving? Is that what you're telling me? Dude, he's had so many needles into his face, you can't even begin to count.
But he's getting to an age where you're starting to go,
dude.
Mickey Rourke?
Yeah. It's all over the place.
Kenny Rogers.
If you want one other bit of great audio that we can go find, he was on with SVP on the TGL night the other night. Did you hear what he called Akshay Bhatia?
No.
He called him Ashtray.
That sounds like Tiger.
And it was like, did he just... I had to rewind. I was like, did he just call him Ashtray? He just called him Ashtray. Okay. Anyways, no, the reason I bring this up.
I think Ash K apologizes to him.
I think he does.
That.
I'm so sorry. My name is now Ashtray.
You're right, I am.
You're Tiger. You get to name me. You set the future. No, but Brooks is coming back PGA Tour. It's great for golf. A lot of the guys have talked about it this week. They interviewed the other Live Bros, because I think their season is starting. Who the hell knows? Who cares?
Yeah.
But they were all up on a dais, and they were sitting up there, and they said, hey, Bryson, how do you feel? What's your reaction to the news of Brooks Koepka going back to the PGA Tour? Because Bryson has one more year left on his deal. And he took like a 5-second pause, looked around the room, and then said, well, I'm under contract for 2026. And that was all he said.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to buy it out. He's going to play
He doesn't
want to
buy it
He'll
out,
be back.
and he's going to be back. He also has floated legitimately the idea. He's a wonky enough dude to actually do it. Mm-hmm. He has floated the idea of leaving both tours entirely and just filming YouTube content and playing in the majors.
I mean, he's probably going to make a ton of money doing that.
He's making millions of dollars on YouTube Golf. Yes, financially he will be fine.
The trick is he's got to continue to win one
to keep
get the exemptions.
Yes. So if he wins one in the next year, like if he wins a major this year,
he can still go through qualification for the U.S. Open and the Open Championship.
Yeah, but there's no qualification for the Masters.
Not the Masters. And
he's a big brand guy, obviously. That's why he's made this change to his personality, and he's doing the YouTube stuff. I have a hard time believing he won't be back on the tour.
I do too.
Because you can still do your golf content off season.
As long as he, keeps going down the trajectory he's going, the PGA Tour wants him back.
Desperately. He's he's one of the biggest eyeball generators in the entire sport.
They want him back.
If not the biggest.
I was going to ask
Rahm,
you that.
they'll take or leave. Everybody else.
He might be the biggest.
I think in terms of like internet popularity and a name recognition standpoint.
To tune into a golf tournament.
Yeah.
To get people to go to a golf tournament.
Like we know Rory's one of the bigger ones, right? But he really might be that. Because he used to be such a hateable, I'm the buff guy that's going to drive the ball. And, he slimmed down a little bit. He's changed his game. He's changed his personality. Like, he really might be the number one.
Yep, I'm with you there. We don't have time to squeeze one more in, I don't think. Let's get on time for Brady. Wonderful Magic Hat. Delightful conversations. It's always...
I had a good one in
there. They call it the water cooler talk because that's what people are talking at the water cooler.
Yeah, both of them will. I have two more in there.
Okay.
They'll hold over.
I have one more. I might slip it in here as my update because, it was pretty good and it's not really timely. But Brady Henderson of ESPN covers the Seahawks. We love having him on throughout the year. I don't know if you know this.
It's a big game.
They got a pretty big game this weekend.
How will they lose?
The winner goes to the NFC Championship, and they're playing a divisional rival who they just played, 4 hours ago it feels like? We'll talk to Brady Henderson of ESPN, preview that game in Seattle. That is coming up next. But first, here's us with a update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan for the first time this year, we have a PGA leaderboard to discuss. Yes, the Sony Open has begun play down at Waialae Country Club in Honolulu. 20 of the top 50 players in the world are in the field. Our boy, Kashmir Keith Mitchell, out early with an early birdie atop the leaderboard. ESPN Plus has coverage this morning. Golf Channel picks it up at 4 this afternoon.
Never heard of Keith Mitchell in my life.
We've had him on the show. Live from the driving range of a major championship.
Yes,
We've had him on the show. He's a friend of the program. He wears a visor. He's a Georgia Bulldog.
Georgia Bulldog football.
That was for a major, wasn't it? U.S. Open or PGA
Something
Championship?
like that, yeah.
He was on the range. He called into the show.
Was I on the show?
Yes,
you were on
you were.
the show. You were
interviewed that guy?
Kashmir Keith Mitchell. You interviewed live on these airwaves.
It's Kashmir.
Look, I can't criticize anybody because I forget what we did 10 minutes ago, but it's a golf one. So
we don't get too many PGA golfers.
We don't have a lot of golfers.
Show.
Pat McCabe hooked it up. He got us Kashmir Keith.
What about Two Gloves Gainey?
He
got arrested for a hooker after our interview.
Look, he's still out there.
How about this one from the Science and Animal Department? There was a disease going around with frogs that ended up leading to many extinct frogs and impacting the community of frogs. Well, there was a scientist that figured out a way to eliminate the disease. Oh. He took masonry blocks, he drilled holes into them about frog size, and he found that if you put the frogs in it and heat the blocks up, it was basically a frog spa. The heat would eliminate the disease, saved a ton of species.
I want a frog spa. That sounds delightful.
I just want a spa.
Put me in that hole.
Would you buy the Costco spa?
I would, yeah. How much they cost?
$1,800 right now.
That's not bad. What's the run? What's the, maintenance?
What's your bill? What's your electric
That's
bill?
the tough
with
part.
that? Yeah.
Where does this rank? This is my magic hat. I'm going to use it now. Where does this rank of famous houses you would want to buy? This was in the news yesterday. For the first time in, 48 years. The house, now the inside's different because they filmed it in a different place. The outside of the house, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air Will Smith house is available in the Brentwood neighborhood.
There you go.
Nothing bad happens in Brentwood.
Never.
You want to guess the price?
Ooh, $4 million.
12 million.
30.
More PGA Tour, golf spa, and famous resident stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Heard missing work insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday.
Where is all the music? The night is
Lots still to get to in the final 27 minutes of the show. Yeah, that house would be pretty cool to own. $30 million, a lot of money, though.
Well, but my problem with movie or TV show houses is I expect the inside to
and the
look
inside's
like
different.
the set.
Yeah, it's not the same.
So it's a cool, badass looking house outside. If it doesn't look like the inside, I'm disappointed.
The most movie ones I feel like end up being I think the Home Alone house was the actual inside. Now it's changed over the years. But the Home Alone house just went on the market again. It was like $5.5 million. It just sold.
Sure.
So they remodeled the inside of it, but they filmed it inside. The Fresh Prince
no, just the front room of Home Alone. All the bedroom stuff.
Oh, was that different?
Was
that elsewhere?
Like a gymnasium?
Nah, it's not a gymnasium.
Yeah, there was like a swimming pool. They had to fill it up, and they made a whole set for the shenanigan tricks to be played.
Well, our next man lives on a boat, and we love talking to him because there's a big football game this weekend. Brady Henderson of ESPN covering the Seattle Seahawks at Brady Henderson on Twitter, is where you can go give him a follow there. Brady, good morning to you. Just kind of where are we at, man? We're a couple days away. Divisional round matchups are always big anyways because you're trying to punch your ticket to an NFC title game. Now we add in the added element that this is a rivalry game, and then it feels like they just played 2 days ago. What are the vibes like leading into this one on Saturday night?
I think if you got them in an honest moment, people with the Seahawks players and coaches would tell you that they got quite a bit of confidence going into this game. Now, they're obviously not going to, come out and say that. And I really think that, if this was a case where the 49ers were completely healthy and they didn't, weren't missing all those key pieces on defense and they weren't, coming off of a short week, and if the rest was equal, and maybe if this was at a neutral field, this game to me feels like a coin flip. But that's not the world we live in. The world we live in is that 49ers are all sorts of banged up on defense, and they've sort of been punching above their weight on that side of the ball. And, they just played a pretty physical Eagles team on, last weekend, whereas the Seahawks are coming off a bye. And the other part of it is that this game is in Seattle, and it's going to be the first home playoff game with fans in the stands in 9 years. And Lumen Field is going to be an absolute madhouse on Sunday or on Saturday. And so all of those things taken into account, on top of what we saw in that Week 18 game where the Seahawks clearly looked like the better team, and I would argue that, that was a 10-point win that felt more like a two-touchdown win.
Yeah.
All of that taken into account, I don't see the Seahawks losing this game.
That is a mind-blowing stat to hear out loud.
I remember the last one they had was, I think it was the Rams, right? And the Rams came in and beat them in COVID.
Yeah. I'm really curious. We watched the Niners beat the Eagles, and the Eagles have been just such a weird team all year. How, to your point on the confidence internally and where they're at right now, the Niners also coincidentally they're on film basically saying they want this game. This is who they wanted to play. They knew the Eagles were going to be tough, but this is the game they wanted based on what happened at the end of the year. How do the Niners beat the Seahawks? I agree with you. That felt like a 20-plus point win, contrary to what the scoreboard said in Santa Clara a couple weeks ago. How do the Niners beat the Seahawks, even with all the injuries they're dealing with?
Yeah, I think they have to force Sam Darnold into a few mistakes, and they've got to get a couple balls to bounce their way. And I meant what I said there, that was, that game was not as close as the score indicated. I will kind of contradict myself a little bit because at the same time, the Seahawks got two bounces that went their way in that game, and one was the fumble on where Sam Darnold was
the exchange
about to hand off, and he gets tripped up by one of his own guys, and he fumbles the ball on the handoff, and Zach Charbonnet, being Johnny on the spot that he is, falls on the ball, and then the other one was that interception when the 49ers had been putting together probably their best drive of the night. Boye Mafe gets a fingertip on that ball, deflects it, in a way that makes for a difficult catch for Christian McCaffrey, and the ball bounces right to Drake Thomas. So I guess they got two bounces on that play. So I think it's going to take the 49ers with, the kind of piecemeal defense that they've had to put together. And Robert Saleh has done a fantastic job with all the firepower that they've lost of keeping that defense playing at a competent level. They got to find a way to force Sam Darnold into a mistake, and they got to get some bounces to go their way. The problem is, because that defense is so limited personnel-wise, they have one of the most anemic pass rushes in the NFL, probably statistically
the most ineffective pass rush in the entire league, and they just don't force turnovers, and the lack of a pass rush is a big part of that. So that's why I say, like, I don't see the Seahawks losing this game, but if you are to write a script, you would kind of have to, suspended your disbelief, I guess, a little bit, because that is what it would take, and I don't really see that happening.
Yeah, we're talking with Brady Henderson. We agree with you there. At Brady Henderson on Twitter, covering the Seahawks for ESPN. They host the Niners on Saturday night. The game will be right here on the Fan. A divisional round matchup out of NFC West rivals. I'm curious to ask you about Darnold. You mentioned him. You know, he played pretty solid in that last game of the regular season. He's been a guy that I think has that question about him about big games and is it too big, and the way the season ended last year in Minnesota and the 4-pick game in L.A., the nearly pick 6 in the second game, I should say, against the Rams at home. What does a good game and a win do for his confidence? Because I always try and argue, like, it's not that he can't, it's just that he hasn't played well maybe at times in big games. So if he is to come out and execute, not have any turnovers, what does that do for him the rest of the way in terms of confidence, kind of getting that monkey off of his back?
Yeah, well, it would be huge. I think, like it would be for any quarterback, and I agree with your assessment there. I think some of the, Sam Darnold can't win a big game narrative is a little bit overblown. I think it's fair to say that we haven't seen him play in a whole lot of big games, because when you spend your first 3 years or first 5 years in New York and Carolina, you don't really play in a whole lot of big games. I mean, we're talking about 9 years ago at this point, but this guy did win a Rose Bowl in college and threw for 5 touchdown passes and a boatload of yards in that game. He just hasn't played in a ton of big games in Seattle. And look, I don't want to sound like a Sam Darnold apologist, because I've noted the turnover issue as much as anybody. But I would say that if you go back and watch the 9 sacks that he took in that wild card game against the Rams last year with Minnesota, there's not a whole lot he could have done on a lot of those plays. And I think that was more a function of that offensive line being decimated than it was Darnold just, being a deer in the headlights and not getting rid of the ball, holding on to it. So, but certainly the week before that, which was, with the number 1 seed on the line, he missed open receivers, did not play well in that game, and that was more on him than it was on their offensive line. But in the bigger picture, I don't think we can say that Sam Darnold can't win a big game. I think we just haven't seen him do it enough to really think of him as one of those big game quarterbacks. But, in the divisional round with a trip to the NFC Championship game on the line, I think that would, that would be a pretty big feather under his cap, on his cap, whatever the saying is.
We know what
you're saying.
Yeah.
We know where you're going.
Seahawks fans are interesting because down here they seem to be a little different in terms of how they feel or think about the Seahawks and the people who are every day up in Seattle. You've been hosting a lot of radio. You've been doing a lot of hits this week. I'm curious, how would you describe where Seahawk fans are at right now, getting ready to go against the Niners, a hated rival for a long time, divisional round 1 seed? Are they're starting to feel a little cocky about their ability to get back to a Super Bowl? Where are they at right now?
My only kind of sense of that is what I see on Twitter, which I like to say is not a real place. So, take this for what it's worth. I really don't have a great sense of it. I can just more so tell you my sense, which is that I think that the Seahawks themselves are pretty confident going into this game. Now, if this was the Rams in the divisional round, maybe that's a different story, because I think it's pretty clear that, that the Rams kind of have something on Darnold. And it's a tough matchup for them between the pressure that the Rams can create and the way that their defensive coordinator kind of makes the picture kind of muddy and has been able to fool Darnold, frankly, a few times. Like we talked about with this 49ers defense, as great of a coordinator as Robert Saleh is, and as great of a job as he's been doing keeping that defense afloat, this defense just does not pose nearly the same challenge. And, that offense, I would say the Seahawks have to be more confident now going into this divisional round game than they were going into that Week 18 game, because that was the hottest offense in the NFL at that time. I mean, they were scoring 35-plus points, moving the ball up and down the field, scoring at will on Chicago in that Sunday night game, and the Seahawks just made them look very, very normal, holding them to 3 points. The hottest offense in the NFL, you held them to 3 points. So having seen that, I think everybody involved with the Seahawks, players, coaches, fans, I think that's why there's got to be a lot of confidence
Last one for you, Brady. This has become a thing over the last handful of years, not quite 10 years ago, but, last handful of years when certain opponents come to town, there's a bit of a discoloration in the crowd, if you will, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, depending on who's in town. You mentioned first home playoff game in 9 years of fans. Are we expecting, is that like a scenario out there? Are we expecting a Niner takeover of a section? How do we think the crowd breaks out here?
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine there was going to be a ton of 49ers fans. Certainly in week one there were, and it was so much that, on his pregame radio interview, John Schneider does one of those an hour before kickoff of every game, and he even noticed it on, live on the air, saying, "Man, there's a lot of red in this building." He's talking about, how much of a sore subject that has been, because that kind of has been the trend, at least for regular season games the last few years. But it's always kind of, to me, seemed like this cause and effect thing. Like, is your home field advantage waning because, more of your season ticket holders are selling tickets and you have, less of an advantage because there's just less Seahawks fans in the building making noise? Or is it kind of the other way around where because the team hasn't been playing as well at home, that's given those fans more incentive, to sell those tickets when you consider that, like, you could, depending on the game, you could, make up most, if not all, of your season ticket costs for the entire year by selling, one or two tickets. So it's probably a little bit of both, but, those were all regular season games that we're talking about. This is the first, home playoff game with fans in the stands in 9 years. And clearly this is a team that, has as good a chance as anybody, probably a better chance than most teams to go to the Super Bowl. So I don't think that's going to be a thing. I mean, certainly you will see some, you always do in every stadium, but I don't think it's going to be anything like week one or like it was for the Packers or the Bills games last year.
Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out. If Seattle wins, punching their ticket to an NFC championship game, a loss would be a disastrous end because I agree with all the assessment on where the 49ers are at and where the Seahawks are at. Brady Henderson of ESPN, at Brady Henderson on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Covering the Hawks again for ESPN. Brady, thanks for the time this morning, man. We always enjoy it. Enjoy the game, and let's do this again soon.
You got it, fellas. Thanks for having me. We'll see you.
Yeah, there you go. Brady Henderson, live from a boat, getting ready for the divisional round matchup.
Something to keep an eye on. Charles Cross, according to Brady yesterday, limited in Wednesday practice. He has a knee injury. He missed last weekend's game with a hamstring injury, and now he's dealing with a new knee injury. So he very well could play, but their left tackle, you're kind of wondering where that's going to go.
Yeah, as you mentioned, didn't play in the last regular season game, so see if that impacts him. If he is unable to go on Saturday night, we're only 2 days away from that game.
I'm so jacked.
It's going to be a great weekend of football, baby. Let's put a bow on the show. Blazers back in action tonight. Will it be as ugly as it was last time? We'll close it up there next on The Fan.
FM and 1080 AM.
Well, we got our first glimpse of what life was like without Denny Avdia the other night.
Well, we didn't talk much about that, did we?
No, we did not, because the game was over in the second quarter.
It was over when I watched it, and that was the second half. So.
By the time I turned it on,
turnovers for 29 points.
Yeah, I turned it on like 10 minutes late, and it was already like 12-4, and the Blazers had called an early timeout. And then Klingon went on like a little mini 7-0 run, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
Burst here and there, but
then you look up and it's
the first score was a touchdown pass from Curry to Draymond over the top of everybody.
They didn't even get, you get blown out like that, and you didn't even get one of those like vintage Curry nights where you're like, oh my God, what did Curry do?
Points.
He had 7 points. And
D'Anthony Melton had 21 off the bench.
That he did. We get round 2 tonight, sans Avdia. Now, our other guys back. We'll have to wait and see. I think there's a chance Grant could play, maybe.
Yeah, Jeremy's truly a game-time decision.
So we got that going for us. And Atlanta's in town. What do we know about the Atlanta Hawks? They don't have Trae Young anymore. That's all I got.
No, but they've been a weird team.
Okay.
A weird team in the sense of when Trae was out, they got off to this great start. Defensively, all their metrics were good. And then Trae came back, and all of those metrics went right down the drain, which is why they wanted to trade him. I mean, they're really not much different than Portland.
They're 20 and 22. We're 19 and 22.
The only difference is, like, they have some players that everybody in the league would want, and I think right now in Portland we have one.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe people would want Drew or Jeremy or Dame, but like contract stuff matters here. Age, yeah. So, they're really not that much different. We get CJ here because he just got traded there.
Yeah.
I don't expect us to win if we know Denny Avdia.
No, I don't either. And I think that leads to a question of like, if this one looks ugly, again, like if it looks similar to it did, now that's one game, so you never know. They don't have a lot of. Who's running the offense? Drew's only playing 20 minutes.
Do they slide Drew into the starting lineup tonight?
Well, I don't know where his minutes, like the restriction stuff.
He played 21, I believe, 2 nights ago.
Yeah, but I would rather have him if he's only going to play 20 to 25, I would rather have him with the starting group to try to see if they can get the ball moving and into a flow and a rotation, so guys are getting easier shots. It's not all one-on-one jacking up a
contested 18-footer
on the shot clock.
You had 44 just from Kispert and McCollum in their last game off the bench. Johnson is going to be a problem for them, and he just played a terrible game, so I'd imagine he's going to be much better in that one. And then they have their version of Tumani, Dyson Daniels.
Yeah.
He's running around guarding multiple positions. They just got annihilated by the Lakers in their last game. So what to expect? I mean, no Denny. It's hard to ask for much, but I do expect an Atlanta Hawk team that can be good without Trae Young to play much better than they did against the Lakers.
It's really tough, too, because it's such a big year for Shaedon, and he certainly got off to a slow start. He's playing much better over the last 6 weeks, and now you're putting him into a role that's just not – it's not his role.
They don't have a –
right, you're asking him to be
really have a point guard.
You're asking him to be a creator on offense, and that's not what he is.
You want him to develop that aspect of his game, but he's not Denny. So.
He's not a point guard. He's not. I mean, that's just not his MO. So I'll be curious to see how it looks tonight.
Are we
3.5-point underdogs? You gonna do it again? Are you gonna kill him again?
No, I'm not gonna kill them. Well, I'm asking people. Are you guys excited? And the general people out there,
the general you.
Like I know the diehard Blazer fans always gonna say yes and never push back. Are you excited to watch them play right now?
No. I was laughing watching the first quarter of the Golden State game of like, the hell is this lineup?
Well, what are you looking for even? Shaedon to play well. Right. Okay, cool. But when Denny comes back, all these roles are going to change back.
Right.
So
everything evolves and differs, and somebody else could get hurt. No. The answer to your question is no. I will watch tonight, though. I will tune in. The Atlanta Hawks are in town. But no, I don't think there's a super strong enthusiasm with the current. Look, it's no fault of their own, right? I mean, outside of the Dame one, which they knew, they signed a player in the offseason that wasn't going to be able to play this year.
They traded for a player who got hurt last year, and he's aging, and he's on a bad contract. They gave Jeremy a 5-year deal that nobody else wants to trade for.
They did.
I'm not saying, like, it's their fault, but, like, also some of this stuff was out there.
Robert Williams in the lineup, though.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
He's stayed pretty healthy.
He's playing. He's out there.
They do the every other night thing.
Can we trade him before he gets hurt again? Is that possible? Does anybody want him? Got to get off of that one quickly. Well, we'll see how it plays out tonight. Blazers and Hawks. If you missed the show today, boy, oh boy, was it a doozy.
Good show today.
We talked about furries. We had Josh Pate on.
Yes, we did.
We had Michael Silver on.
Yes, we did.
Brady Henderson on.
Indeed.
The Magic Hat. Dante Moore's returning for another year.
John Harbaugh is an I
John
and a T
Harbaugh.
away.
He's got to dot his I's, cross his T's. He's the next coach of the Giants.
We got coordinators in Eugene.
Dude, hell of a show. If you missed it, go check the podcast, 1051thefan.com, 1051thefan on Twitter, at Turton Sprague on Twitter. And thank you for being a part of our Thursday. If you watch on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, what the hell are you waiting for? We will talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. The Firm of Harrison Morangus next. Listen to 1051 FM The Fan.